So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Was in Disney Universe. This is second part of the series, so let's start the series. We find ourselves in the town of Frontierland where a light fog was creeping in, and where we find pirate Captain Jack Sparrow leading the young ninja and fairy to their destination following Jack's compass, which was leading them all over the place, which was making Naruto think that the pirate doesn't know where he was going. Do you even know where you're going? Naruto asks as Tinkerbell yawns. Of course I do. Not far now, just a little further. Jack replied as he kept his eyes on his compass. You said before that a while ago? Naruto said, giving Jack a look before he looks to his compass. And why are you looking at that compass? It's not even pointing north. The pirate stops and turns to the young ninja. There are a few things you must understand, mate, and that not all things are what they appear to be. Just like the compass isn't supposed to point north, he said before he smiles before he carried on guided by the compass, leaving Naruto standing there wondering what he meant, before he put that thought to one side and quickly followed him. If it's not pointing north, then what is it pointing to? The ninja asked. You're about to find out. Jack replied before he stopped and sees the compass pointing to his left. When he looks, he grins and puts his compass away before saying, Mr. Ruto, we have reached our destination and not a bad spot either, serves the best rum this far in Frontierland. Naruto blinks before both he and Tinkerbell turn to look what Jack was looking, and his eyes widen at what he saw. It what looked to be an old building that looked at it had better days, with a sigh flashing the name of the place, Tiana's palace, above the entrance. He can also hear music coming from inside the building as well, and laughter and cheers, and sees a couple of people outside drinks bottles of alcohol. He was looking at a restaurant. Are you serious? Naruto asked as his eyebrow twitches. This was where it was taking us. Just to find where the closest restaurant. Of course not. Jack replied. Well, it is but we will also find who it is that we are searching for, and trust me, he or she is here. Naruto gives the pirate a look. You don't even know what this person even looks like? He angrily yelled out. Of course I do. Jack told him. I know this person like the back of my hand. He lifts his right hand before taking a closer look at it. When did I get a mole? Naruto eyebrow twitches after hearing that before he face palms into his hand and drags it down his face. Anywho's enough dilly-dallying, the drinks await, Jack said before heading into the restaurant, leaving the ninja and the fairy outside. Naruto and Tinkerbell look on where the pirate went in silence. Why did I ask him for help again? Naruto muttered to himself before they both sigh in defeat and soon followed into the building, unaware that they were being watched by a skeleton ghost hidden in the shadows. Tiana's palace. When Naruto soon enters the restaurant with Tinkerbell, they find themselves looking at small crowds of people either sitting at tables drinking, eating, playing cards, or standing at the second level looking down at a stage while listening to music being played by bears. Naruto blinks at that, making sure he wasn't seeing things. But he was seeing bears playing music, country bear jamboree instrumental, just when you think you've seen everything. He muttered before Tinkerbell taps his face, getting his attention, and sees her point towards the bar area where he sees Jack, drinking a bottle of rum. The ninja deadpans that with Tinkerbell before he makes his way towards the pirate, while quietly muttering to himself. For some reason, I should have expected that. When he gets there, Jack notices him and grins. I knew you couldn't resist. Rum? He asked the ninja. What are you doing? Naruto asked. Taking a drink, my young friend. What better way to celebrate our new partnership than a bottle of rum? Jack replied with a grin. Of course, it would be even better if it was free. That would great. You know the rules, Jack. You got to pay to earn your drinks. The woman behind the bar said as she turns to them. And what this about a partnership? Glad you asked? Jack happily replied before patting the back of the young ninja. My new friend here has employed me to help as a tour guide. Really? The woman asked with a raised eyebrow before she looks at Naruto, who in turn also looks to her, taking in her appearance. She was an African-American woman with black hair that was tied up in a bun at the back, dressed in a yellow working dress, with a white apron around her. Wait, what the hell's an African-American? He mentally asked himself in confusion. How should I know? You're the one thinking it, not me. Kyubi replied at his question. Naruto cut the connection and put that thought to one side. Yeah, I did. He told the women at her expression. I'm new around here and I asked him if he could help me. He then gave Jack a deadpan glare, which I'm now having second thoughts about. Hey Dash, trust me mate, if there's one thing I'm good at is helping people find what they're looking for. The pirate replied before taking a swig of rum. And finding more rum Dash, which is also a plus. Naruto narrows his eyes before he looks to the women and gestures to the pirate describing what he has to deal with. The women giggled before saying, Oh, trust me, I know how Jack is like Dash, he's been coming here as long as I've known him, believe me. But he can find what you're looking for some reason he has a knack for it. Thank you? Jack happily said. You always the voice of reason, Miss Tiana. The woman now known as Tiana lightly shook her head before leans on the counter as she looks at Naruto and said, Name's Tiana, manager of Tiana's palace. So, what is it that you asked him you're looking for, Mr. Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki. And this is Tinkerbell. He replied with a smile before he lost it. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure what it is I'm trying to find. You don't? She asked with a raised eyebrow. I know I'm looking for something old, but that's as much as I know. He shrugged before gesturing to the pirate. And when I asked him here, all he did was open his compass Dash, which I think is broken Dash, and lead us here. Here? Really? Tiana said as he stood up before turning to Jack. It lead you here, Jack? Yep. The pirate said before taking another swig. Right here in your lovely establishment, which means two things. The first being that rum is the greatest old thingy of all time. That got him deadpan looks from all three of them. Or two, he then leans towards Tiana with a mysterious smile on his face. Is that she is here? Tiana's eye widens at that knowing who he's talking about, before giving Naruto a quick look before she looks back to the pirate and whispers. Are you crazy, Jack? You do know how dangerously tricky she is, right? So, she is here then. He replied, making her flinch while Naruto and Tinkerbell look on in confusion. She sighs before saying, Yes, she's here. The then points to the far corner to the tavern. In her usual spot, as always. They turn to look and see a woman sitting alone in a shadowed corner with a few candles lit. Perfect. Jack said as he got up and turns to Naruto. Mr. Ruto, your search has now just begun. Wait, seriously? Her? Naruto asked as he looks at the shadowed women. The pirate then gestures to the women. After you, savvy? Just as Naruto is about to go, Tiana said. A bit of warning, kid, she'll tell you what you want to hear, but it always come with a price Dash, and the price could be anything. Naruto nods as thanks for the advice and then walks towards the table where the women was sitting with the pirates soon following him. When they reached the table, Naruto took a chance to have a proper look at the woman sitting there. She had dark skin with long and dark brown, braided and dreadlocked hair, and she was dressed in a long dress, almost gothic bridal in style. It was dull red and black, worn with age and slightly tattered. She was also wearing a black shawl, giving her the impression of an old woman. Her face is perhaps the most striking feature about her. Small dots of kohl arc beneath her eyes, which are also lightly framed with the same substance, and upon her chin. Her lips are painted darkly, giving an extra eerie edge to her sooty-stained teeth. The woman looks up as she notices Jack and grins at him. Jack. How wonderful to see you again. She said, Tia Dalma, the voodoo mistress, has it been 5? 6 years since I saw you hiding in your corner here? Jack asked, which got looks from Naruto and Tinkerbell. It was 10 years, Jack. She answered with a deadpan expression. 10 years was when I came ashore last time. The pirate gives Tia a bewildered look. Oh, he muttered before he shrugged it off and sat at the table. Well, better late than never I always say, which I don't usually Dash, which I should. Tia then looks towards the young ninja and fairy who came with Jack and stares Naruto, making said person uncomfortable. She then smiles at him. I see, you have traveled a long way to get here, Naruto Uzumaki, she said to him. Naruto's eyes widen at what she said. You know me? He asked. She leans closer to him with a grin. You want to know me? She asked, making him gulp as Tinkerbell hides behind his head. There'll be no knowing here, Jack said, interrupting her. We've come for help and we're not leaving without it. As she leans back to her seat, Jack mutters to himself, I thought I knew you, then took another swig. Tia then says to Naruto, Come, sit. And I will tell you what you want to hear, she said as she gestures to the others' chairs. He listens to her and sits down while Tinkerbell flies to the table and sits on it. Now then, what is it that you want to ask Tia to find? She asked the young ninja. Naruto looks at her for a moment. I'm trying to find these old objects that my Gigi had. I was told that he hidden them all over the place and that I'm not the only one who's looking for them either, he told her. The thing is though, I don't even know what they look like or where to find them. I see, so you are asking if there is a clue into finding them or better yet, where in Frontier Land is the first one? Tia replied. Yeah wait, what? A wide-eyed Naruto asked in surprise. The first one is here? That is correct, my child, the object that you seek lies within the town, she said, and she leans to him as she stares at him. And the others that are also looking for it know it too but do not know where to look. She leans back. The shadowman took over Frontierland so that he could find what you are seeking. Naruto raises an eyebrow before asking. The shadowman? He's the reason what the town in run with ghosts, mate. Jack answered. You see, he has particular friends on the other side, and I mean the dead kind, not the living ones. It was because of the shadowman that the spirits cannot go back to where they came. Tia explained. Because he took something that belonged to a sea captain years ago. With it he took control of the captain and his crew to serve him, till the end of time. Naruto's eye widens at that before they narrow. Then how do you stop this guy? He asked, not liking this shadowman one bit. The only way to stop him is to find what you are searching for before he does, she told him. If he does, then no one in Frontierland is safe, dead or alive. There was silence after hearing that. Well, that's a letdown if I ever heard one, Jack muttered. Well, that's the more reason to help find whatever it is you're looking for faster than the other man, he said to Naruto before turning to Tia. So, can you help us find it? Sadly, I can't help you, Tia answered him, which got her a look from the pirate. What? Jack asked, dumbfounded. You can't help at all with this small thing? No, Jack. This task is even beyond to what I do, Tia replied. However, I do know someone who can. Naruto gives Tia a puzzled look before asking. Who is it? Madame Leota, she who knows all, and sees all, she replied. She can help you where I cannot. Then how do I find her? The ninja asked. Where is she? No one knows where she now. Ever since the ghosts roamed the town she disappeared, Tia replied as she leans back. Rumor has it that the shadowman took her, and hid her someplace no one would look. Naruto slumps after hearing that. Great, just great, he sighed. Now what? I can't find that artifact without knowing where it is or even what they look like, and the only one that can is missing. I hate it when that happens. Jack added. There is a way to find her, Tia said, getting their attention. There is? Naruto and Jack asked as Tinkerbell blinks. Yes, but it comes with a price, she said before she looks to the young ninja. What's the price? Naruto hesitantly asked her. The price, I ask, is of something special something that was given to you by a man, she told him. A man that he knew you were, not something that everyone else said you were. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that. Something that someone gave him that meant more to him than anything? It was the necklace, because she said that it was a man that gave something to him. The only thing that sounded close was Irika-sensei giving him his His eyes widen, realizing what it was, and slowly touches his headband. Then one thing that meant something special to him. The first person that said that he wasn't the Kyuubi but Naruto Uzumaki. The whole reason he became a real ninja was because of Irika-sensei. Either give away his headband to help him find this Leota person, or keep it and lose the only person that could help him. After some thought he sighs, before taking off his headband, before he stares at it lost in his memories, before giving it to the women who took it. She takes a look at the headband. The payment is fair, she replied before placing it to one side. Tinkerbell flies to Naruto and pats his cheek, knowing what he had to give up. Tia then sticks her hand out to Jack, who looks at it in confusion before he raises his head to her. Is that supposed to mean something? Jack asked. Give me the compass, Jack, Tia told the pirate. Of course, you what? He asked. The favor I asked of you, Jack, the one we made when I gave you that compass, hand it over, she said, giving Jack a look. Jack looks at her like she was joking and gives off a chuckle before realizing that she wasn't, and tilts his head to one side, before he takes out the compass and holds it out to her. You have your favors, he mutters. Tia takes the compass from Jack, and gives it to the young ninja, getting looks from everyone. That's it? The pirate asked in confusion. Just give it to him just like that. Yes, Jack, I could have done that. Would you have, Jack? Tia asked the pirate with a deadpan look. Not really, he muttered. Now you know why. Naruto watches their conversation before he interrupts them. Why did you give me the compass? It doesn't even point to north. How can this help find anything? Because it was never meant to find north, Tia replied, making him blink in confusion. It was to show where you desire to go. Naruto looks at the compass before asking. Where I desire to go? He asked as he gets lost in his thoughts of how the compass will help find the artifacts before anyone else, or how it will help him find his mother. I sense there are many things that you desire, child, Tia said, snapping out of his thoughts. You are not sure which one your heart wants. Naruto slumps his shoulders as his eyes soften. I know I have to find what Gigi left behind, but I also want to find my Ka-san too, he quietly said, and he clutches the compass. I want to know who she is, and where she's been hiding all these years, but I've got to stop the people who are after those artifacts. He then looks to the compass. If this thing does point to what I desire the most, will it be what Gigi left, or where my Ka-san is? He then felt Tinkerbell touching his cheek, understanding his problem, before Jack said, That is a tough one, mate. On one hand, you've got treasure that everyone wants, and the other, a treasure that only you want. I would go with the first one myself. Both Naruto and Tinkerbell gave Jack a deadpan look before Tia got their attention. There is a way that the compass can help with your choice, she said to him. How? The young ninja asked. The compass holds many secrets. All it needs is the right key to unlock them, she told the ninja. He blinks at that before he takes another look at the compass. Wonder what she meant. The right key, he muttered before he blinked at an idea popped in his head. He reached into his pocket and takes out the key and stares at it before he looks at the compass again before opening it. When he did, the key glowed, getting his attention before he notices that a keyhole was taking form on inside lid. Never knew it could do that, the pirate muttered as he too notices the keyhole. With a determined look on his face, Naruto puts the key in the keyhole and turns it. CL click. As soon he did, the needle in the compass starts to spin fast, and kept on spinning faster and faster. Then it soon started to glow, surprising the ninja, fairy, and pirate. They watch as the key comes out of the keyhole and spins above the compass, where an image starts to form. Naruto looks closer and sees that the images that was forming was. Naruto raises an eyebrow at the image. HM? He asked. What does that mean? Oh, I know that place, wish I didn't really, Jack answered as he took another swig of rum. Then the image disappeared and the key floats back to Naruto's hand before the needle on the compass stops and points towards the front door. Tia smiles at Naruto before she says, Now you know where to go. Naruto looks at the compass in awe before a smile starts to form on his face, knowing that his mission has just started. Slam! He was knocked out of his thoughts and turns to see Lewis running into the restaurant with the look of panic and fear. Also noticing him, Jack gives the alligator a look and calls out, Mr. Lewis? The alligator turns to him as he heard him. Captain? He cries out and rushes over to him. He's coming. Who is? Naruto asked in concern. Davey Jones. Lewis shouts out, which everyone stop, including the music. What? Jack nervously asked, thinking he misheard him. Davey Jones. I just saw him arrive at the docks. He's also coming this way right now, the alligator shouted as he points to the front of the restaurant, and everyone starts to shake in fear. That's not good, Jack replied. Who's Davey Jones? Naruto asked as he starts to worry. The sea captain that is the slave to the shadowman, Tia answered, making his eyes widen. You must leave quickly now. I agree to that, Jack calls out as he, Naruto and Tinkerbell get up from the table and runs to the back of the restaurant with Lewis close behind them. When Jack reaches the back door, he opens it, only find out that it was a storage cellar room. Why doesn't this place never have a back door? He asked himself. Naruto turns to the front and sees shadowy figures walking past the window outside. No time, he said as he pushes Jack in the room with Tinkerbell Dash, who Lewis soon followed Dash, before closing the door behind him. Naruto shushes them before looks out the crack of the door and sees a human figure walking into the restaurant, and his eyes widen in shock at what he saw. The being's head looked like it resembles an octopus, with a beard of 46 tentacles hanging from his mottled, green-skinned face. A prominent sack also bulged from the back of Jones' head, which was nestled underneath a hat covered with barnacles. A siphon was located on the left side of his face, making up for his lack of a human nose. He had a crustacean-style claw for his left arm and a long tentacle-like index finger on his right hand. His right leg resembled that of a crab, which in turn resembled a peg leg, and no barnacles on his skin, unlike the claw or the crab leg. His suit consisted of a coat which was originally light blue with thin golden brims on the cuffs and around the buttonholes, but faded, a dark grayish one-breasted waistcoat and dark gray breeches. Like the crab leg and the claw hand, the clothes were covered with barnacles. On his left leg, which remained human-like, he wore a leather boot. A dark red sash and a leather belt with a patinated buckle completed this suit. However, the most notable piece of cloth which he wore was his hat, which was a tricorn which had the same light blue color as his coat and a similar thin golden brim along the edge. Its front corn was bigger than the other two and divided, so that its silhouette resembled the devil's horns. Just then two more figures came walking in right behind him. The first one had a head which resembled a hammerhead shark's. He also had a set of crab claws for his left hand. He wielded a boarding axe as his weapon. And the second was a barnacle-covered sailor. The young ninja eyes were still wide and not sure that what he was seeing was real or not. What the hell? He quietly asked while keeping an eye on them. Careful, brat. For some reason this guy is giving me the same feeling that the Shimigame did years back. The Kyuubi told in caution. Greetings everyone of this fine establishment. The creature called out to everyone. I came here to ask you of something. He then takes a few steps forward towards the fearful crowd. Where can I find the pirate, Jack Sparrow? Here's his name. Jack makes a face. I'm not liking the sound of that dash, not one bit. He quietly said. Likewise. Lewis added before Tinkerbell flew up to them both and shushed them. Because someone with him has something the good doctor, Mr. Facilier, wants. Davey Jones carried on as he walks towards the bar to Tiana. Perhaps you know where they both, Miss Tiana? Jack was here with someone dash, but I wouldn't know where they went after that. Why would the shadowman want them? Tiana nervously asked the captain. Davey Jones leans towards her. That is for them to find out, my dear, he told her, before he stood up and looks around the place, before noticing Tia in the corner and his expression softens, then walks to her before stopping at the table. I never knew that I would see you again. Davey Jones, still working for that cruel man, I see, she replied. The captain gives her a glaring look before saying, I'm surprised to see you here of all places. It's almost like you were expecting someone. He then leans into her. Like a certain pirate we both know. Perhaps, or perhaps I was waiting for you. Tia replied as she too leans close to him. Davey Jones' expression softens at that, before he took notice of the headband on the table next to her, and his expression returns. If that were true, he muttered before grabbing the headband, startling her, and hold it in front of her. They were here, the both of them, and they still are. He then turns around and looks at the whole restaurant, before his eyes settle at the door leading to the cellar, and an eye peeking out from the crack. Naruto's eyes widen again as he flinches away from the door. Oh crap! He muttered out to the others. With an evil grin, he walks towards the door with his two crewmates soon after. When he reaches the door, he stops and calls out. I know you're in there, Jack Dash, you and the boy. You only have two choices. Either you come out and surrender, or we come in and kill you all. Pick your poison. All he got was silence until, Raisin Gan! Crash! The shouting and crashing sounds from in the room surprised and his crew before he growls and takes a step back, kicks the door open. Smash! When he steps into the room he finds no one here at all, All that was left was a giant hole through a wooded wall which lead to the forest swamps. They escaped. The captain growls at that thought. Damn. He mutters. Dash. The forest swamps. We find Naruto running further into the forest with Jack and Lewis right behind him, while Tinkerbell was hanging tight onto his hair. After a few moments more they stop for a breather after nearly escaping from whatever that was. Speaking of which, who the hell was that? Naruto panted as he asked Jack. Who or what that was is something we shouldn't get killed from, that's what. Kyuubi told him before Naruto cut off the connection. That my magic friend was Davey Jones himself. He answered, getting a look from the ninja. That's Davey Jones? He asked in shock. That's the sea captain that Shadow Guy controls? Him, his crew, and even his ship, the Flying Dutchman. The pirate answered. And before you ask what he is, he's a ghost that now hunts down anyone that would stand in the Shadowman's way. Lewis added. Naruto narrows his eyes at that before changing subject. Right, so now there's a pirate ghost from the deep now hunting us, he said before pulling out the compass and sees it pointing to the left. But right now, we've got to find this Madame Leota, before they know what we are doing. Smart idea, mate, Jack replied before turning to Lewis. Mr. Lewis, you head back to the ship and make sure you're not seen. Dash. It's dangerous enough as it is. You don't have to tell me twice, he alligator said before he runs off. Catch you later, Captain. You sure he's gonna be alright? Naruto asked as he watches Lewis disappear in the forest. Trust me, Mr. Rudo, if there's one thing Mr. Lewis is good at, it's hiding. Dash. And trust me, he's really good at it, Jack replied, and he walks up to the young ninja. And to add to that statement, Dash, I know where it is that we are indeed heading. That got him looks from Naruto and Tinkerbell before the young ninja asked. You do? Of course I do. It's the one place that everyone knows about. Dash. Everyone that knows not to go near there, that is. So, where is it then? He asked. Jack then points to the young ninja's left. Just follow where the moon rises, he said before tuning to that direction. Naruto and Tinkerbell follows his line of sight to where the moon is, before they widen as they see what was also in that direction. Under the light of the moon in the forest swamp a far distance away was a mansion. It looked to be old from a distance, but what caught his attention when he saw the mansion was a graveyard. That's right, a graveyard. There were tombstones of every size surrounding the back of the mansion. Dash, as well as a few tombs too. Dash, surrounded the place were black iron bars where a few crows were perching on them, not to mention a few ghosts. Flying out of the tombstones was also a big hit that the mansion they were looking at was haunted as well. The pirate leans to Naruto and says, If you're wondering what HM stands for, it doesn't mean anything that's alive. A mansion with a graveyard in the middle of a forest surrounded by ghosts, HM, haunted mansion, he should have known. I'm beginning to think that coming to this world was the best idea you ever had, brat, the Kyuubi said as Naruto could feel the fox grinning at him knowing about his fear. Ghosts, why did it had to be ghosts? Naruto muttered to himself as Tinkerbell pats his head before he hangs his head in defeat. We find ourselves outside the town of Frontierland in another part of the forest swamp, where we find the crew of Davey Jones and the captain himself searching through the muddy swamps looking for Naruto and his companions who ran off into these woods and are finding their tracks. But all they could find was nothing but the muddy swamps. Keep searching, lads. They can't have gotten far, Davey Jones called out. But Captain, we don't even know where they went. Dash. We can't find their tracks, one of the crewmates replied. We could be out here searching for them who knows how long. Davey Jones walks up to him. Then you better make sure you find them quick then. Unless you want to see what the insides of a kraken's stomach looks like now, do ya? He yelled out. No, Captain. Then keep looking. The crewmate nervously nods his head and he continues to look. Davey Jones turns around to keep searching only to stop as he sees a shadow of someone with a top hat and cane on the tree. But no one standing there to make it. I'm surprised to see you and your crew out here in the swamps, Mr. Jones, a voice called out, making Davey Jones look to his right to see the witch doctor leaning against another tree twirling his cane. Good evening, Mr. Facilier, Davey Jones growled out. Dr. Facilier stops his cane and snaps his fingers, making his shadow join back to him before he walks towards Davey Jones. But last I checked, I told you that the boy would be in the town's tavern. Dash, not in the swamps. And the boy was there that much I can't deny. The captain answered. But he somehow escaped him and his companions out here. Escape? You mean you lost the boy and let him escape? The witch doctor cried angrily. How can you lose him he and little friends were trapped with no way out, and they were trapped like you said, but the boy was not normal. Davey Jones replied. He seems to have some sort of magic you didn't tell me and my crew about. The shadowman raises an eyebrow hearing that before he rubs his chin in thought. The boy has magic? She never mentioned that detail, he muttered to himself before he shakes his head. That doesn't matter, Mr. Jones. What does matter is that you failed to capture the boy and grab the key he has. Davey Jones steps towards the witch doctor with a glare. You best beware who you're talking to, Mr. Facilier, he replied. I know exactly who I'm talking to, Davey Jones. The witch doctor fired back. Unless you want to make sure that your precious treasure is kept safe from any harm, you'll follow my orders to AT. That was the deal you made with me, did you forget? Or do you want an express one-way trip to my friends on the other side? Davey Jones narrows his eyes in anger after hearing that. You wouldn't dare. I will, Mr. Jones, just try me. Dr. Facilier answered before turns around and walks away from Davey Jones. Remember, Mr. Jones, I want the boy and the key he has brought to the ship, alive. And what of the boy's companions? What shall we do to them? The witch doctor stops and slightly turns him head to him. Well, you know the old saying here in frontier land, dead men tell no tale, he replied with a smirk before he carried on his way with his shadow tipping his hat to Davey Jones. Davey Jones grins at that before he turns to his crew. You heard him, lads. Keep searching for the boy and don't stop until you do. He barred his orders, making the crew set out. And while you're at it if you find Jack Sparrow along the way, tell him his future pirate days will soon be at the bottom of the ocean. Outside the haunted mansion, we find our heroes with Tinkerbell on Naruto's shoulder, walking up to the iron ornate gates that lead to the haunted mansion. The only problem though for Naruto was one small thing, a graveyard. Naruto muttered as he grips the gate bars with his hands as he looks at the tombstones. This place just happened to have a graveyard. Well, it not called the haunted mansion without a few tombstones lying about the place. The pirate captain replied. It wouldn't be called the haunted mansion then it'll just be called the mansion. Jack then makes a face after saying that. I don't like that name it's too plain. Naruto turns his head to see a plaque on the brickstone column holding the gate up and sees the letters HM. Written on them, this was the place all right. He turns back to the graveyard before sighing in defeat. Great, just what I need. More reasons to hate ghosts. He muttered as Tinkerbell pats his cheek to calm him down. No way to avoid it, mate. Jack said as he opens the gates and starts to walk towards onward and upward and the other stuff they say in situations like this. The young ninja sighs as he quickly follows the pirate into the graveyard, not noticing that the gates closed by themselves. As they walk down the path, Naruto looks around as he sees ghoulish trees with knotted expressions, tombstones of names of people he didn't know as well as animal tombstones for their pets. He even took notice a few crows in the trees as if they were watching them, either that or they were looking at 5 burst heads who were singing a tune he never heard of He suddenly stops and blinks a few times, singing head bursts? The hell? He slowly turns his head to see 5 head bursts singing in sync. The hell? He muttered. Oh, well, the crypt doors creak and the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a swinging wake, happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize, grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize. Naruto stares at the singing heads for a few moments before he shakes his head. Nope. I'm not gonna ask, he said before he quickly follows the pirate captain to the mansion. When he caught up to Jack, he asked, How you know about this place anyway? Anyone who is anyone knows about the haunted mansion. The pirate captain replied. It's been here ever since that old man of yours built the place. Built it for who exactly? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Jack stops and turns to the ninja with a look. For the ghosts, of course, he replied, getting a surprised look from Naruto. Who else would he built it for? Himself. And carries on towards the mansion. Seriously? The ninja asked before he looked at Tinkerbell with a look. The fairy nods with a smile, confirming Jack's story. Just when you think you've heard everything. Naruto muttered to himself as he follows the pirate captain. They carried on walking past the graves until they stopped as they reached the front of the mansion, and took a closer look at it. The mansion itself looked to be an antebellum theme that looked like it was from the 19th century, with its huge pillars, a green balcony that ran along the whole outside edge of the house at the front, evenly spaced large windows, and a big center porch entrance at the front mansion which gave it a box-like style. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow and not ask about how I know these things because I'm not. Naruto mentally told himself after realizing it. They then walked onto the porch to the front door of the mansion. Already I have a bad feeling about this, Naruto quietly said with Tinkerbell nodding in agreement. There's nothing to worry about all we're doing is knocking on a door of a mansion that's filled with ghosts, and such nothing to be afraid of. Jack answered with a wave on his hand. But just to make sure why don't you go first? Naruto and Tinkerbell both give him a deadpan look before they look to the front door with nervous expressions. Naruto reaches the door knocker and starts knocking on the door. Knock, 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 creak. After the last knock the door slowly creaks open, showing the inside of the mansion. The young ninja nervously gulps as he leans his head forward to look inside. Inside was the foyer that was lit by a large, flickering, cobweb-covered chandelier and surrounding candelabras, and no one around that could open the door. Hello? Jack called out into the foyer. Hello, 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 echoed out. Jack raises an eyebrow at that. Echo! He called out. Echo, 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 echoed out. Both Naruto and Tinkerbell turned to the pirate with a look before the ninja asked. What are you doing? Jack looks to them with a puzzled expression. What? I always want to do that, he answered, making Naruto's sweat drop. Are you done? The ninja deadpanned. The pirate captain raises a finger up, gesturing that he was gonna do one more echo, and calls out. Is there anybody home? No, 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 no. That got spooked looks from everyone before they share a look. I think I'll stop now, Jack muttered out. With that they walked inside the mansion, being cautious of who or what could be around the corner. Slam. They were startled by the noise and quickly turned to see that the front door was slammed shut behind them. CL click, and the sound of the door locking. That's not good, Jack said, starting the obvious, getting deadpan looks from the others. Greetings, mortals. A voice called out, surprising the three. I am your host, your ghost host. Do haunted mansions always have a ghostly talking voices? Naruto asked out loud. That, my little friend, is something I need to know myself, the pirate replied. When hinges creep in doorless chambers, the voice carried on. And strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls. Whenever candle lights flicker where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror, with ghoulish delight. The voice then chuckled as it fades away. Just when you think this place couldn't get any creepier, you hear that, Naruto muttered out as he face bombs. Tinkerbell then flies in front of Naruto, doing a couple of bell sounds, getting his attention, and gestures to the stairs leading to the second floor hallway. What's she saying? I don't speak bell talk, the pirate asked as he pointing at the fairy. I think she's saying that Leota lady might be hiding somewhere on the second floor? Is that it? The ninja asked, getting a nod from the fairy. He looks back to the second floor. Might as well take a look then, unless you know anywhere else to look. He then starts head up the stairs with Tinkerbell not far behind. Oi, you're not leaving me behind, mate, Jack said, and quickly follows them. I don't do well in haunted houses. When they reach the second floor they look down the hallway, taking notice of the paintings hanging on the walls, 2 statuary busts depicting a strict-looking man and woman, and a few doors along the way. As they started to walk down the hall, QB muttered. I've got to tell you, kid, in all years in living, this place is starting to make me feel anxious. Really? You the great 9-tailed fox, getting scared of a haunted mansion? Naruto mentally replied in slight amusement. Ha ha, very funny brat, the fox sarcastically said with a deadpan look. I'm just saying you should be aware of this place. I don't want my jailer to die an embarrassing death like a heart attack from a ghost, even though I would get a good laugh out of it. Naruto's eyebrow twitches in annoyance after hearing that. You're a bastard, you know that? He mentally replied. Thank you. The fox grinned before cutting the connection. Stupid fox, he quietly muttered. As our companions walk past the paintings in the hallway, they start to change from people and animals into ghosts and monsters. All the while their eyes are following their movements. Tinkerbell, being the only one who took notice of the changes, become nervous and quickly flies to hide in Naruto hair. With her head poking out of it. As they pass the two statuary busts, the pirate looks to them and sees that they were turning their heads following their movements. Okay, that's creepy, Jack muttered as he turned his head away from the bursts. When they came to the 3 doors, they stopped, not sure which room to look in. Okay, which one should we look first? Naruto asked. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Naruto blinks, hearing the heavy breathing, and turns to Jack to ask. Jack? Why are you breathing so loud? I'm not. The pirate replied, getting a look from the ninja. But if you're not making those breathing sounds, and I know Belchan not making those sounds, what is? Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hearing the sound again, they slowly turn to the door on their left, to see that the door is actually breathing. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I vote not to go in there, Jack said, breaking the silence. Agreed, Naruto replied, with Tinkerbell quickly nodding. A breathing door, now I've seen everything, Kyubi said before he cut the connection. Suddenly the sounds of pounding, shrieking, screams, knocking, and maniacal laughter startles them from the door on the right, all the while as they see a green glow can be seen from the gap at the bottom of the door. I like to quickly add that the second choice is gonna be the same answer to the first one, Jack added. Naruto turns to the 3rd door in front of him to see if anything would happen, but nothing happens. Then I guess we'll take door number 3. Naruto muttered as he reaches for the door handle and grips it. He turns the handle and pushes the door open and step into the room, which turns out to be a balcony to the grand hall. In the hall were a couple of broken doors, with equally broken windows above. A broken burst showing no face was sitting on a mantel of a fireplace, with a mysterious green fire that lit the grand hall. A massive chandelier hangs high above the floor. On the other side of the balcony across the room, where a curtained doorway is situated between 2 portraits of dueling gunmen, and close to one side of the portraits was an abandoned pipe organ, covers in cobwebs and dust. Taking notice of some twisted stairs and travel down them to the grand hall's ground floor, where they start to look around the place to see if anything off about the room, but find nothing wrong, or anybody for that matter. Kindly drag your bodies away from the walls to the dead center of the room, except for the voice of the ghost host, of course. Okay, seriously, does that voice have to talk like that? I'm already freaked out from this place already, Naruto asked as he looks to the ceiling. Okay, voice, we get it. You're creepy and scary, Good job on that. But can you leave us alone, please? We're trying to find someone. Then I bid you farewell, mortals, the voice answered. But you must beware, there are many troubled ghosts and ghouls lurking about. So please watch your step, or it might be your last. Yeah, thanks for the warning, and all, Naruto replied, sounding uncertain by the warning from the voice before turning to the pirate captain, who raises his hands and shrugs. At least he gave us a warning, that's got to count for something, Jack replied. Naruto's sweat drops at that before he sighs and looks around the room. Okay, good news, there aren't any ghosts here. Bad news, no Madame Leota either. He called out to the pirate and the fairy. Except for the mysterious green fire, that's already strange as it is, the pirate said, pointing at the fireplace. Speaking of which, I'm freezing. He walks to the fire to warm himself up. Green fire? Naruto muttered before he looks towards the fireplace. Why would the fireplace be on in an empty mansion? Even ghosts need to get warm too? Jack guessed, not sure how to answer. No, that can't be right, Naruto said, shaking his head as he walks up to the pirate. Ghosts can't feel anything, either warm or cold. Doesn't anybody know that? When you're running away from a ghost, you don't get the chance to ask, the pirate replied before he looks to the fireplace with a puzzled expression. So if they don't need the fire, why have it on? Maybe the same reason why the fire is green in the first place, the ninja said as an idea came to him. It's hiding a secret. Naruto steps towards the fireplace and searches for any hidden switches that may reveal a hidden secret. While he was doing that, The pirate captain takes a few steps back away from the fireplace to see if there was a bigger picture to this. He tilts his head to one side, then the other side, before tilting his head back again. But while they're searching, they never notice a mysterious shadow in the room looking from the window. Tinkerbell feeling that they were being watched, turns towards the window where the shadow was, but saw no shadow, or anyone that might be watching them, which made her raise an eyebrow in confusion, before shrugging her shoulders thinking that it was nothing, and turns back to the fireplace, unaware that the shadow took a quick peek before it set off into the forest to who knows where. Nothing, Naruto said as he took a step away from the fireplace. There isn't any hidden switches or anything around here. Maybe it is just a normal fireplace with green fire. Maybe the switch isn't on the fireplace then. Perhaps something else here in this room opens it. Jack suggested, making the ninja and the fairy to turn to him. What do you mean? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I saying why not look at the big picture, instead of the small details? The pirate said with a small grin. It's like I always say, mate when you searching for answers, always look underneath the underneath. Naruto gives Jack a surprised look as he's reminded at the same advice that his sensei told him back in Konoha. Or it's when you're searching for treasure, always keep digging Not sure which one it was, really. Jack added, making Naruto's sweat drop. Turning back to the fireplace, the ninja starts to ponder on what Jack said about looking at the bigger picture. What if there was something more to this than he thought? Look underneath the underneath, he muttered, being lost in thought as he also remembers what his sensei taught him, before he turns to look around the room to see something out of place. After a while of searching, he couldn't find anything, until he took notice that at the other end of the grand hall were 4 suits of armor standing against the wall with the swords resting in their metal hands, all except one, who had its sword was pointing upwards towards the ceiling. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that, and starts to walk towards the suit of armor. Why is it that there's only one suit of armor that has its sword pointing upwards? He asked as he reaches the armor, to make it look like it stands out compared to the others. Jack replied as he joins the ninja. That way when someone comes looking for something, they'll know where to find it. Naruto said, ending the pirate's sentence before they share a look. Doesn't this feel that it's a bit easy to you? Jack asked. I know this is too easy. Naruto replied, agreeing with him, with Tinkerbell nodding. I mean, this has got to be a trap, right? Unless the shadowman didn't make any traps and it is this easy. The pirate added. They stare at each other for a bit before they turn to the sword, not sure not to think. If this turns out to be a trap, I'll blame you for this. Naruto said as he grips the sword, getting a look from the pirate. I can live with that or not, in this case. Jack replied, agreeing with that. Naruto takes the sword before he puts it back the same way as the other's sword before letting go of it, and waits for any results. Unless it wasn't a switch at all and it's just night made to point to the sky, what a letdown. Jack said, breaking the silence, getting deadpan looks from the others. Naruto opens his mouth into rumble. He pauses and blinks at the sound. What was that? He slowly asked. I would say that it's the sound of something opening. Jack answered. Rumble. The sounds rang again as a rumbling noise echoed in the grand hall, that was coming from back at the fireplace. They slowly turned to the fireplace, and took notice that the fireplace was moving backwards into the wall, and its fire was going out. Just then the back wall of the fireplace was sliding open to the sides, revealing a secret passage that was darkly lit. I guess it was that easy. Jack muttered with a raised eyebrow. Naruto smiles at the result. Thanks you, Kakashi-sensei, he said as he walks to the passage with Tinkerbell flying after him. The pirate captain gives an odd look to the ninja. Who's Kakashi-sensei I was the one who gave you the idea to look underneath. He muttered to himself before he follows them. They stepped into the fireplace and walked down the secret passage, which revealed to be a narrow hallway which leads towards another door. When they reach the door, Naruto grips the handle and opens it to reveal a room they didn't expect to see. The room was darkly lit, round seance room with a round table in the center of the room, with a single chair and a living raven perched on the back of it, and there resting on the tablecloth was a crystal ball with green mist floating inside of it, surrounded with tarot cards all face up showing the pictures. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that before he takes a few steps towards the crystal ball and leans in to take a closer look at it. I've got to ask Is this Madame Leota some kind of fortune teller or something? He asked the pirate while still looks at the crystal ball. Your guess is as good as mine, mate. Jack replied as he looks around the room with Tinkerbell, who flies towards the ceiling seeking for something. I like this room, it feels calm. Naruto raises an eyebrow at him before looking back at the crystal ball. He freezes as he sees a head looking back at him. Hello, key-bearer. Ayaha! Naruto screamed out, surprising the others. Ayaha! Jack cried out. Ayaha! 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 Aya-comma! Stop yelling! The head yelled out, stopping the screaming. Geez, you two are both so low you would wake the dead, that is if they weren't already awake. Naruto and Jack share a look while Tinkerbell flies down between them, and take a closer look at the head in the crystal ball. Inside the crystal ball was a green woman head with dark green curly hair surrounded by green mist hiding the back and the bottom of her head, all the while she was staring at them. You don't see that every day. The pirate captain muttered out loud. I have to agree with the pirate on this one. Even I've never seen this before. The QB said, sounding surprised at what he was seeing. Naruto blinks a few times before points at her. You're Madame Leota? He asked. The lady that the shadow person kidnapped and hid you here? Yes, it is I. The head answered. And yes, the shadow man did kidnap me. But I've got to say, for a witch doctor trying to hide something that no one can find, he does a lousy job of doing it. No traps or anything. Naruto and his companions all share a look. Was that easy? Jack replied. That's a letdown. Now then, what is it that you all want, so that I may answer the question that you need to ask? The head asked. How are you even alive? Naruto asked as he looked around the crystal ball. You're just a head. Seriously? She said, giving the ninja a look. I know all that is magic, mystic and all things from the other side of the living. And you're asking how I'm alive? Oh, right. Naruto replied, realizing what he was asking. I keep forgetting how crazy this mansion is with all the ghosts, and talking voice calling himself the ghost host, and all. Then gives the head a look. And I've just realized that you're a ghost too, aren't you? He asked deadpan. That's correct. She replied, which made Naruto hangs his head. Of course. He muttered before the pirate captain took a step forward. Greetings, head of Madame Leota. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow of the famous Black Pearl, which I've currently misplaced, and can't remember. Do you by chance know where I might have misplaced it? He asked her. To find your ship, you can look no longer. She replied as she rhymes. But the way to get there, you must be stronger. So you must best beware, and have a plan in your head, because the ship that you seek is in the land of the dead. Jack stares at her, opens his mouth, closes his mouth, turns to the ninja. I didn't expect that, at all. He muttered, then quickly turns back to the head. Do you by chance know Sorry. She interrupted the pirate. I'm only allowed to give one mystical answer to one person each. No more. Seriously? Just one? Jack muttered. Seriously? He turns back to the ninja and says. There's always a catch to these sort of things. You're talking to a head of a ghost lady who is supposed to know all. Naruto answered. Of course there's always a catch to these sort of things. Good point. I must remember that next time. Jack replied before he smiles to the young ninja. Your turn, mate. Naruto looks to Madame Leota, who sits, flouts, there waiting, before taking a deep breath and steps towards the ghost. Madame Leota? Naruto started to ask. I want to ask where you can find the artifact that your grandfather left in Frontier Land. She replied, getting surprised looks from them. WHWH how did you comma? I'm a ghost of mystic and magic. She answered. It was easy to know what the question might when the kingdom key bearer is involved. That's impressive. The pirate captain muttered with Tinkerbell nodding in agreement. So you can help me? The ninja asked. Only little information on what you seek. She rhymed. But I can tell on where to find that will give you a peek. Are you rhyming the answer? He asked with a bewildered look. It's what I do. She answered. Do you want my help or not? Oh, sorry, yes I do. Naruto replied. What you seek to find is in a place you will dread. She rhymed to him. Because the place you must go is in the land of the dead. Eh? The ninja muttered. Sorry to interrupt Dash, but did you say what he seeks is Dash? Jack started to ask. In the land of the dead? Yes, she replied. Eh? Naruto cried out with wide eyes. The pirate captain raises an eyebrow. He muttered before turning to the ninja with a smile. What are the odds of that? Naruto's eyebrow twitches. I'm beginning to think this place has it out for me. He mentally muttered to himself. Considering that you faced a headless houseman, a town full of ghosts, and dead pirate version of the Shinigami and a ghost head telling you to go to the land of the dead? Kyubi replied. Yes, I do. Ha 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 ha, you're not helping Furball. He mentally yelled back, cutting the connection before taking a deep breath. Is this the only option? There isn't any other way? He asked the ghost with hope in his eyes. It is the only one that is the safest that I can answer, Key-bearer. Madame Leota answered, giving his hopes up. He narrows his eyes in thought before turning to Jack and Tinkerbell. What do you guys think? He asked. If you want my opinion, Dash, I'll say this, Jack replied. On one hand, if we try and find another way, Dash, we'll be hunted down and eventually caught by Davey Jones and become part of his undead crew that got his looks from Naruto and Tinkerbell. Or on the other hand, Dash, okay. I get it. Naruto interrupted him. This is the only way we can take, glad to be of help, he said with a grin. Naruto gives him a deadpan look. Now that you know, what question do you want answered? Madame Leota asked, getting the young ninja's attention. Naruto turns to her with a determined expression. Okay, he muttered before asking. Madame Leota, here is my question, how we get to the land of the dead? Outside the haunted mansion we find our heroes walking through the extended around the back building, with Naruto leading the way as he looks at the compass that was leading them further into the graveyard. All my years of sailing the seven seas, Dash, this wasn't one of the things I expected to be in. Jack called out. Maybe when I'm dead and buried here, Dash, but not when I'm still alive. Naruto and Tinkerbell both stop and turn to the pirate captain. Quit complaining, Jack, Naruto replied. You know as well as I do that the compass is pointing this way, Dash, even though I hate the irony to this. He looks back at the compass. It's like she told us, follow the compass, Dash, it will guide our way. Flashback. To reach the land of the dead you must go to the graveyard and look for a tomb that is different than the rest. Madame Leota replied, telling the young ninja. The compass will guide you where to go. When you say that the tomb will be different, Dash, different how? Naruto asked. You will know when you see it, she answered mysteriously. When you reach the tomb, use your key to open it, Dash, and with that you'll travel to the land of the dead. That's simple enough, Jack replied. Thank you, Madame Leota. You have been most helpful. He then turns to leave. Wait, Naruto said, stopping him. What about a way out? When they find what we're looking for, Dash, how do we get back? Jack turns to answer the young ninja, but he can't think of one. That's a good question, Dash. I prefer living in the land of the living, Dash, not the dead. Unfortunately, you both have asked one question each, Dash, so I cannot answer a second one. Did I forget to mention why I never like hidden catches? The pirate said to the ninja with an unhappy tone. But then again, there is still someone who has yet to ask me a question. Madame Leota suggested, getting everyone's attention. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that, wondering who she's talking about, before his eyes widen and turns to Tinkerbell, who also realizes it as well. She turns to Naruto and nods her head before she flies down to the table. Really? Jack asked with a bewildered look to the fairy. How can you answer her question, Dash? She talks in bells. Ignoring the pirate, Tinkerbell makes some bell noises as she tells Madame Leota her question, while also gesturing with her hands and arms while doing it. See, Jack replied. Even I can't tell, Dash. To leave the land of the dead, you must head out into the sea. She starts to rhyme. Because that is the only way for you all to be free. Or I could be wrong. But the waters are dangerous, you need a mind straight and narrow. Because for the pearl to survive, you only need one sparrow. Both Naruto and Tinkerbell turned to Jack with raised eyebrows, which said pirate noticed. What? That is all I can tell you, I can't say more. She finished. Thank you? Naruto replied before he looks to his friends. We better get going. Before you leave you must know this, the head replied. Beware when you reach the land of the dead dash. The shadowman has friends that will surely find a way to stop you. Like who? Naruto asked, not sure if he wanted to know. One you must avoid at all costs, she answered. The boogeyman himself, Oogie Boogie. Flashback end. I just find it oddly confident that my ship dash, the one that's been missing, is in the land of the dead. Jack said as they carried on following the compass. Or that it's the only way out dash, from the land of the dead. Unless that shadow guy or the ghost pirate took your ship there. Naruto replied, getting a look from the pirate. If I was a bad guy dash, that's what I would do. Take something you love, then keep it in a place you can't reach. Wickedly ingenious. The pirate muttered. I should try that sometime. Crack. Suddenly stopping at the noise, Naruto quickly turns to where and who made that noise, only to find nothing. Jack, noticing the young ninja's reaction, pauses. What's wrong? He asked. Did you hear that? Naruto quietly asked. Hear what? Jack asked with a puzzled look. The sounds of the crows? Which, by the way, dash, didn't hear that either. I thought I heard something. Naruto replied as he looks around the graveyard, before he turns back to the pirate. Or I'm just paranoid and it's nothing. Nothing is always good dash, it's the something that's not good dash. I learned that lesson on my many past adventures, and I know them tales all too well, Jack. Our heroes stop after hearing that and realize who was making that sound. I'm gonna turn around and see Davey Jones behind me dash, aren't I? Jack quietly asked the ninja, getting a nod from both the ninja and the fairy. They slowly turns to look behind them, to find no one, which confused them. Huh. Jack muttered before he turned around dash. Hello, Sparrow. Davey Jones said, appearing in front of them, which startled everyone and take a few steps away from. In all the places I expect to see a dash, this was one I didn't expect. Well, you know what they say. Jack nervously replied. Expect the unexpected dash, especially when I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. I'll be changing that dash once you're dead. The dead pirate captain then turns to the young ninja who was starting to sweat. And you be the boy Mr. Facilier was most interested in meeting, he replied with a wicked grin. The key-bearer dash, as I recall correctly. Naruto then took notice that more of Davey Jones's crew were appearing all around him, Jack and Tinkerbell surrounding them. The good doctor has also told me that you have something that he wants. So you have two choices, boy dash, you either die quickly, or you very slowly. Pick your poison. Our heroes looked at their surroundings to see if there was a way to escape from the dead pirate crew, only to find none. I knew I should have brought my jar of dirt with me. Jack muttered to himself. As Naruto keeps looking, he mentally asks, Kyubi, do you have any ideas of getting us out of this? If you were by yourself dash, yes I do. The fox replied. But you're not alone, so I can't see any other way out. Naruto narrows his eyes in frustration after hearing that. There really was no way out of this, unless you have your smoke bombs on you. The fox hinted, reminding the young ninja, who blinks at that. He sweat drops after that. I'm such an idiot. He mentally replied. I could tell you that dash, but it's not new to me. The fox smugly answered. What'll be then, boys? Davey Jones smugly asked, snapping Naruto out with his talk with the fox. Option 1? Or option 2? Naruto narrows his eyes before giving Jack a quick look dash, who quickly got the expression, before he turned to Davey Jones, before giving the dead pirate a smirk. Then we'll take option 3. Naruto replied before he threw the smoke bomb. Poof! The whole area was covered in a big smoke cloud that covers our heroes and hiding them from Davey Jones and his crew, surprising them. When it cleared, the dead crew noticed that they have vanished, getting shocked looks from them. Especially Davey Jones before he become angry and looks around to find them, before noticing the three heroes running away in the distance. He turns to his crew yelling, Don't just stand there. Get after them. Now! Who quickly complied and chased after them. And kill them all when you do. With Naruto leading the way, he and Jack are running through the graveyard away from the chasing crew of Davey Jones, with Tinkerbell flying right behind them. If you have any more ideas, mate dash, now is a good time. The pirate captain called out. That was all I could think of. Naruto replied, leaping of a few gravestones. But I'm open to suggestions right now. Then I suggest we keep running. Just then Tinkerbell took notice that the compass in Naruto's hand is glowing, making her eyes widen, and quickly gets Naruto's attention with her hands. Taking notice of the compass, Naruto quickly looks to see that as well as glowing it was pointing straight forward. When he looks up he took notice of something up ahead, the tomb. The tomb itself looked to be an old white monastery but with no windows to show the inside of the tomb, or either a door. Oh crap! Naruto called out before they stopped in front of the tomb. This is a but where the door? I hate it when that happens. Jack replied before he looks back to see the crew catching up. That's even worse. Naruto and Tinkerbell frantically searched for a way in but couldn't find neither high and hair of getting in. Just then Naruto paused as he felt a sensation that felt familiar in some way, the same sensation when he was holding the key. Without a second thought he took out the key and held it in front of him, when the key began to glow. When it did, he took notice that a keyhole as well as lines formed on the tomb wall, making a door. Naruto grins at that before he hears the dead pirate crew getting closer and turns to Jack. I've found it! He called out before putting the key in the keyhole and turning it. CL click. With that they quickly opened the tomb door before shutting it behind themselves before the dead crew could grab them. They took a few steps away from the door before they noticed the tomb door becoming one with the wall, sealing them inside and away from Davey Jones's crew. That was too close, Jack said, breaking the silence before patting the young ninja's back. Quick thinking there mate any later and we be shark food, you and me both. Naruto replied as Tinkerbell sits on his shoulder exhausted from flying so fast. He quickly looks to his key. I guess having this thing has its perks, one of which I am most glad of. The pirate cheerfully replied before he turned to look around the inside of the tomb. Now how do we get out of here while we don't get caught? We don't need to escape. Naruto replied, getting the pirate's attention. Before coming here the compass pointed at this tomb it wanted us here. He then looks around. This doorway to the land of the dead. Jack raises both his eyebrows before he also looks around the outwell. Not much of a doorway then it's just one room. He muttered. No, there's got to be something more than that. Naruto replied before he walked to the center of the room. Just like the fireplace at the mansion there's got to be something out of place. Not much to look for mate. The pirate captain answered, taking a couple of steps. Just a small dark room with 2 touches can't get any more than that. Looking around the room again Naruto realizes that Jack was right, for brickstone walls, and 2 lightly lit touches close to where the entrance was, there was nothing. Great! He muttered to himself before sighing as Tinkerbell pats his cheek to comfort him. Just then a petal floated down past his face, getting his attention, and watches it slowly fall to the ground. But it wasn't what got his attention. What did was that the petal, which was a marigold petal, was glowing. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that. The hell? He muttered before he kneels down and picks up the glowing petal. It's glowing? Why is it doing that? If I had to make a guess mate I think there's a reason why it's glowing. The pirate answered before he looks ahead of him. Just like why the others are. Naruto blinks hearing that before he raises his head slowly to take notice of a few more glowing marigold petals, then more, and a lot, until he could see that the petals were forming a glowing bridge into the darkness like a beacon. As he slowly stands up he soon realizes that this was the way to get to the land of the dead. I guess this is? He started to say, the path to the land of the dead. Jack said, finishing the ninja's sentence. Where I'll find my ship and your, whatever it is you need. Tinkerbell flies forward down the bridge before turning around and does a couple of bell sounds. Your little friend has the right idea no point us standing around in the dark. The pirate replied and starts to walk down the path towards who knows where. We must make haste we don't have long until Davey Jones and his crew break in here. Nodding in agreement Naruto quickly follows the 2 on the marigold path into the darkness. Outside the tomb. The crew of Davey Jones were pulling and attempting to phase the tomb to get inside, but to their surprise they can't. Just then Davey Jones comes walking towards them and shouts. What's taking you so long I want that tomb open, now. We can't, Captain. One of his crew answered. It's sealed tight. We can't even phase inside it. Another crewmate replied. Impossible. Davey Jones called out. It's only brick and stone dash, nothing more. Now put you back into it. Unless it not just brick and stone, Mr. Jones. Davey Jones turns to see Dr. Facilier leaning against one of the tombstones looking at his fingertips. I believe our little troublemakers might have found the doorway to the dead. The witch doctor told him before walking up to the tomb and with his cane knock on it a few times. They must found asked the talking head where to find it dash, and are now on their way to the land of the dead. How? The dead captain asked. I made sure that every entrance to there was locked and sealed tight dash, like you told me to. How can they get one of them open? The witch doctor turns and points his cane at the dead captain. Because of the key, you fool. The boy used it to open the door, and now he and his companions and now a step ahead of us. He looks back at the tomb. There's a reason why that key is important dash, and well as the boy who holds it. But why go to the land of the dead? The dead captain asked. What possible reason do they need to go there? The witch doctor rubs his chin in thought. Unless there's something there that can help them find the artifact. He muttering, realizing it before grinning evilly. So that's the reason. He quickly turned to Davy Jones. Get you and your crew to your ship dash, and chase down that boy at all costs. Once you do, he'll hopefully have something that will help us get the artifact. Now go! The dead captain turns to his crew and shouts. Back to the Flying Dutchman. We've got to catch a little maelstrom on the way. The crew cheer and they all head to the ship, except for the shadowman who was left alone in the graveyard. Dr. Facilier then raises his cane at eyes height and waves his hand on the orb, making it glow, before a shadowed figure with glowing green eyes is seen inside it. Greetings, my friend Dash. Just a little heads up, he told the shadowed image. You're about to receive some uninvited guests to your little party. The shadow image gives the witch doctor and wicked grin. Dash on the Marigold Bridge. Meanwhile, we see Naruto leading the way as Tinkerbell and Jack follow him as they walk along the bridge that made from the marigold petals, surrounded by the dark and the void, and they've been walking for nearly half an hour now. This is super wired. Naruto muttered as he looked at the bridge with a raised eyebrow. Wired that we're taking a path to the land of the dead? Jack asked. Or is it that we're walking on petals? Both, actually. He replied, turning to the pirate. I guess it would be Dash, if you don't count the other wired stuff you saw already, that is. The pirate said as Tinkerbell nods in agreement. The young ninja raises an eyebrow at that, before he sighs as he realizes that Jack was right. Yeah, when I first came Dash, I didn't expect any of this to happen. He replied, lost in thought. No one ever does, mate Dash. That's what makes it the wired. Jack answered as he walks next to the young ninja. Take me for example, Dash. You can't get any weirder than a pirate who lost his own ship. Naruto scoffed at that. You're not that wired, Dash, and I've no bushy brows and bushy brows sensei, he said, which earned him confused looks from the pirate and the fairy. It's best you don't know. Fair enough, Jack replied before he took notice ahead of Smiles. I'll tell you this though, mate. He then stops, which Naruto noticed, and also stops and looks at him. When it comes to weirdness, Dash, you haven't seen nothing yet, he finished before pointing up ahead. Not sure what Jack meant, Naruto turns his head to where the pirate was pointing at, before his eye widened at what he saw. Whoa, Naruto muttered in awe. What he saw wasn't what he expected. In its heart on the void was a large city full of bright lights and colors, and the structures in the city from the distance looked that they were on top of each other, buildings and buildings of them. They also have tram cars going from one place to another, Dash, all lit up and on the move. Is this where you go when you die? Naruto mentally asked himself, still looking at the city. I thought being dead would be more gloomy and dark, Kyubi replied with a raised eyebrow. Not colorful, he then deadpans. Now I owe someone a favor for a bet I made years ago. Wait, what? What bet? None of your business, brat, the fox sharply answered before he cut the connection. No time to gawk, mate Dash, we have a mission to accomplish, Jack said, getting the young ninja's attention, and heads towards the other side of the bridge with Naruto and Tinkerbell quickly following him. Once they did, they took notice that there was what seemed to be a toll booth that was placed on top of Mayan temples and pyramids, Dash, and when they slowed down to look inside, they see a skeleton that was sleeping. The skeleton, Dash, who male, was dressed in what looked to be a modem police outfit with a flat cap on its head, Dash, which was covering its eyes as and snoring his head off. Naruto blinks at that. Huh, I guess even the dead have jobs. He quietly muttered as to not wake the policeman. Best not disturb the man dash, leave him where he rests. Jack whispered back before they quietly walked past the sleeping skeleton. When they reached solid land and off the marigold bridge, a small gust of wind went past, making them look back and watch as the bridge falls apart into the wind like petals. Well, now we know we can't turn back now, Naruto said, breaking the silence. Right you are, mate. The pirate replied before they started to look around the place. Now then dash, if I was a ship, where will I be? Naruto and Tinkerbell both gave him a look which he took notice. Never mind, first we find the thing dash, then we find me ship. Naruto shakes his head at that before taking out the compass and saw that it was pointing forward. This way, he said as heads into said direction with Tinkerbell dash, who is resting on his shoulder, and Jack following behind him. Welcome new arrivals! A female voice from the hanging speaker called out as they walked past. To La Tierra de los Muertos. Please remember to keep your valuables with you at all times, and enjoy visit. They carried on and soon they came across more skeletons all dressed as well and a few ghosts flouting about the place. And the more they traveled the crowded the place became. It wasn't long until they took notice that they were being looked at by the crowd, especially when they're the only living people around here. But when the young ninja took a closer look at the crow, he was given an oddly familiar feeling as the crows stared at him dash, as well as Jack and Tinkerbell. He then saw them quietly whispering to each other with nervous expressions, which looked odd from skeleton people with no skin. It then hit him why it felt familiar. It was the same stares he had back in Konoha when he was little dash. But the looks weren't filled with anger like Konoha had. But it did have the same feeling of fear. But then if that was the case, Naruto narrows his eyes at that. Why are they afraid us? He quietly asked, getting Jack's and Tinkerbell's attention. Taking notice of the scene as well, Jack gives them crowd a look. That can't be right dash. It's usually the living who fear the dead, not the other way round, he replied as he looks around. Tinkerbell starts to get nervous and flies into the young ninja's jacket to hide herself. Flash. They were cut off as a flash of green caught their attention as well as the crowd and looked to see nothing, until a ship came bursting out of its waters surprising everyone. It's the Flying Dutchman. One of the skeleton crowd called out in fear. It's Davey Jones. Another cried out. Oh crap. Naruto muttered. And it was. The ship looked like a 17th century Swedish warship. However, the ship looked more like it had organic plant matter than the timber and sails dash. That was heavily encrusted with marine life. And there standing at the front of the ship was Davey Jones himself, staring back at them dash, knowing where they are. Or they could be afraid of that dash, that big enough reason. Jack said, breaking the silence. It's them. Naruto and his friends turned to see that the crowd were backing away from them in fear. He's after them. They shouldn't be here. He'll be looking for them. I'm not staying here when he gets here. And like that the crowd began to panic and run away, not wanting to get in between them and Davey Jones. Oh crap. Naruto muttered again before he saw more policemen were coming towards them. Oh crap. I think that's our cue to leave, mate, Jack said and ran away from the police. Stop right there. The police called out as they chased them into the alleys. From the distance Davey Jones took notice of the commotion on land and smirks, before turning to his crew. Men! Drop the anchor and go ashore. And capture that boy at all costs, he called out as his crew cheered before leaping off the boat to swim to land, leaving the dead captain alone on the ship. And I'll have a chat with Mr. Oogie Boogie. Dash, in the alleys, our heroes exit from the alleyway and into the streets dash, where more people and ghosts were about, and push their way through the crowd with the police not far behind. Taking shape turns around corners and avoiding the people in their way, they took a turn onto a small bridge. There they are. Get them. They quickly stopped to look down and see the crew of Davey Jones quickly making their way towards them dash, before they took off again, hoping to not face them. They took a few more turns before they found themselves in a narrow alleyway leading to stairs going up. When they reached the top, they found themselves of the rooftops, and began to run across the top dash, jumping over the gaps in between of the buildings, but suddenly stopped when they came at the end of the roofs, and Davey Jones's crew down below. I vote we turn around, Jack replied before turning, only to see the police exiting the stairs. Dash or not. Looking around, Naruto took notice a cable car coming towards them heading across. Over there! He shouted before running towards it with Jack not far behind. When the cable car was close enough, both the ninja and the pirate leaped from the roof to the top of the car. Dash, grabbing hold of the edge. Using his chakra to stick his feet to the side of it, he pulls Jack onto the top of the cable car before they jumped down onto another set of roofs and took off. They then took a shape turn down another alleyway towards another open street area and ran down it. They then skidded to a stop as saw Davey Jones's crew making their way towards them uphill. Not that way! Naruto shouted before they turned to run uphill, but stop again when they saw the police coming from the other direction. Or that way! Jack replied before he turns to the right to see another alleyway. This way! He shouted as took off down it with Naruto right behind him. As they kept running for their lives, they took a few more shape turns into alleyway and up a few stairs until they came to a crossroad. Why does this place have so many alleys? Jack muttered before them took off again down one of them. Dash, until a pair of hands grabbed them both and pulled them through an open window before they slammed shut behind them. Clang, thump, ow! They cried out as they hit the floor. Shoo! A voice said in the dark, shutting them up. They then saw in the darkness the police and Davey Jones's crew running by the window, and stayed perfectly quiet until they all ran by and disappeared down the alleyway. Naruto and Jack sigh in relief at that, and Tinkerbell sticks her head out from the young ninja's jacket. That was too close, muchachos, the voice said, breaking the silence. Any closer and you would have need new heads. Thanks for the save, mate, the pirate replied as they slowly got up from the ground. But next time, Dash, don't use a window, it's safer with a door. Tinkerbell flies out of Naruto's jacket and onto the table, and Naruto tries to see in the dark room who saved them, but could only make out the figure. Yeah, thanks, he said to the figure. Not need for thanks, amigo, the figure said, waving his hand. Us small-time heroes always got to help when needed around here, Dash, especially the living ones. Yeah, Naruto replied with a small smile, before his blinked at the last part he heard and gives the figure a look. Wait, did you say living ones? Of course I did. You're in the land of the dead, Dash. What did you expect? The figure answered with an obvious tone. Don't mind him, Dash. He's new to the whole dead people walking about kind of thing, Jack told the figure. Especially the ones that are chasing us and trying to kill us. Naruto gives the pirate a deadpan look before he turns to the figure in the dark room and asks, Who are you? Why did you help us? Now that's an easy question to answer, muchacho, the figure replied with his figure pointing upwards before he uses it to turn on a light switch, revealing the out heroes what he looks like, which was a skeleton. Of course it would be another skeleton, Kid Dash. The whole place is crawly with them, the fox mentally told the ninja. Thanks for the reminder, Furball, Naruto mentally replied sarcastically before taking notice of said skeleton appearance. The skeleton himself, with his bones yellow and rusted, sans the bright gold markings on his skull. His appearance was overall unkempt. Dash, his black hair became messy, while the rest of himself was held together by things such as tape and bandages on his right arm and left leg. On his head, he wears a straw hat. He also wears a torn-up indigo formal jacket with a red tie and red, black and white suspenders, and torn-up light brown and black pinstriped pants to show his skeletal knees and feet. He also gained a single gold tooth in his frontal teeth. My name is Hector Rivera, my fellow amigos, the skeleton introduced itself with a grin. And today is your lucky day. Our heroes share a look before Jack asked. And why is that, our new, bony friend? Because unlike to two of you, Dash, he started to say, but what interrupted by Tinkerbell with her bell talk. Sorry, Senorita Dash, the three of you. I know every nook and cranny in this city, Dash. Where the best hiding places, the best foods, the best shows, Dash. We get it, you know a lot of places, Naruto said, interrupting him, before he realizes something. What about places that are in dangerous places? Hector raises an eyebrow at that. That depends what you are looking for, he answered. We're not sure, Dash, but we know it's something, Jack replied, which earned him a look from Hector, then looks to the young ninja with the same look. I'm guessing this something is either very important, Dash, or very powerful, right? Hector asked as he points at Naruto. We're not sure, the ninja replied. All we know is that if we find it, It'll help us get to an artifact first before anyone bad does. Hector raises an eyebrow at that. He then taps his chin in thought. I think I might know where. He answered. But it's not a place not many would want to go. And where's that? Jack asked. Hector gives our heroes a hesitant expression. The only place where anything powerful or important would go. He then looks to the young ninja. The Boogeyman's Casino. Naruto's eyes widen at the name, and remembers the warning from Madame Leota said, Beware when you reach the land of the dead. Leota's voice echoes in his head. The Boogeyman himself. Oogie boogie, Naruto muttered out with a nervous expression as he realizes that his trip in the land of the dead just got more complicated. In the land of the dead, in the dead center of the city was a flight of stone stairs leading towards a structure at the very top, one that was far different than everything else. What was there was a very large twisted wooded tree that had stones and roofs merging with the tree connected by rope bridges, steel fences and large bones, with two cage-shaped elevators hanging off the think branches a tree house then none have seen. The entrance was a Greek stone arch that was crooked to one side, and hanging lanterns that were lit green, and the very top, resting on its structure was a large ship which was a three-masted ship, with the appearance of a galleon and East Indiaman, with tattered black sails and a soot-colored hull, and on the side of the ship was a large neon sign with the words The Boogeyman's Casino flashing purple and green. Welcome to the Boogeyman's Casino! A voice echoed all around for everyone to hear. Come join the fun and get the chance to win and lose. Remember, we're just dying to meet you. HAA ha 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 HAA. This is where we find out heroes, hiding in the darkness of the alley at the bottom of the stairs looking at the casino. There it is amigos, the Boogeyman's Casino. Hector said pointing to the casino. Oogie Boogie's home away from home. This is where that Oogie Boogie lives. QB mentally asked. A treehouse? Seriously? Even I can do better than that and I had a cave years back, not the time for a ball. Naruto mentally replied before he turns to the pirate and asks. What do you think, Jack? Naruto blinks at not getting an answer, then notices an unhappy expression on the pirate's face as he was looking at something. Jack, that's my ship? The pirate muttered, getting their attention. What? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. My ship, Jack said while he was staring at the roof of the casino. On that tree is me Black Pearl, someone's vandalized my ship. Naruto looks to the roof to see the ship he was talking about, with the neon sign it stuck on it. Oh, he looks back to the pirate sheepishly. Well, at least we know where it is, he said with a sheepish smile. The pirate gave the young ninja a look, before looking back forward before saying, When I get the chance I'm making the person responsible walk the plank, over a cliff, and on fire. That earned him concerned looks from the others. Anyway, Hector started to say. Whatever it is you're looking for this is the best place to find it, little amigo, as well as the most dangerous. Taking out the compass, Naruto takes a look to see if Hector was right, and he was, as he saw that the compass was pointing to the casino, treehouse, thing. He's right. Naruto answered before lifting his head at the place. What we need is inside that place. Look as much as I want to go there and save my ship, there's just one problem. Jack suddenly called out. Every walking skeleton and dead man are looking for us and considering that the three of us are alive and not dead, we'll be like lighthouses to them except we don't light up. He's right. Naruto muttered out. I know of a technique that will hide my appearance but it will only work on me. He then turns to look at the pirate and the fairy. And if catch you guys will be stuck here with no way back. Then it is a good thing I know someone who can. Hector answered with a grin. Naruto raises an eyebrow at hearing that. Moments later, we find out heroes about a mile away from the casino down the back alleys of the city to hide from Davey Jones and his crew, with Hector leading the way to a friend of his that can help them get in the Boogeyman's Casino, if he or she can help. You sure this friend of yours can help us? Jack asked. Not all of us mostly me. If you want to stay hidden in the city she'll make sure you are. Hector replied. And trust me, anything that involves that sack of errors, she'll help you. Jack pauses for a moment. Errors? He asked in confusion. It means bugs. Oh. he muttered before he continues to follow them. Why didn't you just say that then? As they continue on, Naruto looks up to take notice of the multicolored winged animals flying about the place, from birds to winged monkeys to large winged cats. What are those things? Naruto asked Hector. They don't look like dead animals. That's because they're not. Those, my little amigo, are Alabrige. They function as a sort of spiritual guide for everyone living here. The skeleton replied. They can't really talk to you's cause, you know, they can't dash, which makes it difficult to understand them most of the time, as well as that they also make a lot of kakitas. He then notices a blue door on his right. Aha! Here we are! This is the place. He stops at the door before lifting his finger to keep the other quiet, before he knocked on the door. Knock, 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 with a unique tune that earned him a few puzzled expressions from the others. CL click, but work nonetheless as the door opens to reveal Naruto and Jack's eyes widen at the person who opened the door in surprise. Well, didn't expect this. Jack muttered to the young ninja. What they were looking at was a woman who wasn't a skeleton, or a ghost either, just something. She has faded blue fabric for skin, with multiple sewing stitches all over her body, and is quite slender. She has large eyes with small black pupils and red lips. Her hair, where she hides a sewing needle, is a reddish color, and is kept at tailbone length. She also wears a knee-high, ragged dress with a V-cut neckline, and is presumably made by simply stitching together multicolored pieces of cloth. She also wears black heel boots with black and white striped socks. As Naruto stares, he mentally muttered to the fox. Am I losing my mind, or am I seeing a blue woman covered in sticks and body parts here? Well, we are in the land of the dead, so I guess undead people are not the only people that live here. Kyubi said after a moment of silence. Even beings made from other body parts. For once, I can't help but agree with you, Furball. Naruto mentally replied before cutting the connection. Hector? What are you doing here? The women asked. Don't tell me you lost another Frida Kahlo costume, did you? You know how long it took to make those dresses? That earned the skeleton bewildered looks from everyone around him, which he took notice and gives them a sheepish expression. If it's to disguise yourself, that's a good plan, mate. Jack said, breaking the silence. If not, then best keep that to yourself, mate. The woman notices the extra guests and gasps at seeing the others before she quickly looks round before telling them. Quickly! Quickly get inside, all of you, before someone sees you. Following her advice, they quickly rush into the building, as she looks around one more time before closing the door behind her and locking it. She then looks to Hector with a glare as she places her hands on her hips. Hector sheepishly chuckles at the glare. Good to see you again, Senorita Sally. You look wonderful today, Did you use a new stick on your face? Naruto's sweat drops at this. Really? Even I know that's the wrong thing to say to someone. He muttered. I have to agree, mate, wrong choice of words. Jack said, agreeing with him as Tinkerbell flies to the top of the chair. Hector Riveras, the women said in anger. Do you know how much trouble you're in, or how dangerous it is helping the living? I'm sorry, Senorita but you know that when I see someone in trouble, I've got to help. The skeleton replied. Especially the living, just like Senior Skellington has done before. The woman sighs as she rubs her forehead. But you've got to be more careful, Hector. If you carry on doing something like this, Oogie Boogie will figure out who's causing all the trouble, and we'll both be caught by him and Davey Jones. She told him. I know, I'm sorry, Sally. Hector answered, using his hands to calm her down. But I promise you, this is different. The woman, now known as Sally, lowers her hand and sighs in defeat. How different is it? They need to escape dressed in lady clothes? She asked, getting looks from the young ninja and the pirate. God, no, I'm not agreeing to that. Jack answered, getting her attention. I don't even have the figure for it. Naruto and Tinkerbell give Jack a bewildered look. That's what you're complaining about. Your figure? The young ninja asked. The pirate turns to the ninja and says, Of course I am, If I disguising myself to hide, I've got to have my pride still intact. Naruto's sweat drops after hearing that before he hangs his head and sighs. I give up. he muttered out as Tinkerbell pats his cheek in sympathy. The women then took another look at the young ninja, before she narrows her eyes at him as if she's seen him somewhere before. You there, what's your name? She asked, getting Naruto's attention. I don't know why, but there seems to be something about you that's familiar in some way, she told the young ninja. Even though we've never met before. Naruto blinks at that before answering her. It's Naruto Uzumaki. She eyes widen as she gasps and covers her mouth. It's you, the whirling maelstrom, she muttered, getting blinks from everyone. I'm sorry you've lost me there, Jack asks, breaking the silence. Sally then crouches to Naruto's height. Tell me, do you have a key that was given to you from a dream? From an old man? She asked him. The young ninja's eyes widen after hearing that in surprise. Yeah, how do you know that? He asked her. It's because of my visions, she answered him. Ever since I was made by my father, Dr. Finkelstein, I was given the ability to see things no one else can. The future. One of my visions showed me was a key floating inside a whirling maelstrom, and connected that with his name? Jack asked, getting a nod from her. Remind me to ask you about my fortune then. The last one made me gave up my compass. But how did you know who I got it from? Naruto asked Sally. Sally then gains a sad expression. The day that I got that vision, it was the same day that. She started to say but sighs, not wanting to finish it. Catching on to what she was going to say, Naruto also gains a sad look before he looks to the ground. Oh, he muttered out. But if you were given the key that must mean you're the key bearer, she replied, putting her hands on his shoulder. You're the grandson of Walt Disney himself. He's your Wawa? Hector started to say in shock, until his eyes droop into his mouth, earning him grossed out looks from Naruto, Jack and Tinkerbell who covers her mouth to stop barfing. EW. Jack muttered. Never do that again. The skeleton the pops then back up with a punch to his jaw before he sheepishly smiles. Sorry, he replied. Naruto turns to Sally and asks her the reason why they were here. The reason we're here is that there's something inside the boogeyman's casino that we need to find. And that same something whatever it is we're trying to find will help us get an artifact before anyone else does, Jack added. Sally's eyes widen at that. So it's real, she muttered before she gains a determined expression and turns to Naruto. If you want inside that casino, you'll need a disguise. So you'll help us? The young ninja asked with a hopeful tone. If it's to get back at Oogie Boogie of course I'll help, she answered as she stands up. But that place is protected by a magic that can reveal hidden appearances so that's a no-go on spells to hide yourself. Naruto blinks at that. So I guess my Henj no Jutsu is out of the question then, he said to himself with a deadpan look. Sally walks to a wardrobe and opens it to show multiple costumes. Lucky enough, I have just the right thing, she cheerfully answered. Do you by chance have something in my size? The pirate asked. Later at the boogeyman's casino, we find ourselves outside of the casino at the bottom of the stairs where multiple skeletons, ghosts, and the Alabrige coming in and out of the place, and where we find ourselves looking at an alley. Hector pokes his head out from around the corner and checks around, before he steps around the gestures to others to follow him. The coast is clear, Hector quietly said. When Naruto and Jack step out, we find them in their disguises. For Naruto, he was wearing a red hooded jacket with white stripes over a white tank top, blue jeans with cuffs, and black shoes with Tinkerbell hiding in his jacket pocket. With his hood up and with a hand from Sally, had face painted to look like a skeleton to look like Hector. For Jack Sparrow, he was dressed as an animal, a large winged colorful Alabrige monkey to be precise. Poor Jack. No one will speak of this ever, the pirate muttered out. You hate monkeys or something? The young ninja asked with a raised eyebrow. Not all monkeys no of course not, Jack answered. Just one little undead one. Naruto was about to reply but freezes in fear as he sees a few members of Davey Jones walking up to them, before walking past ignoring our heroes. The young ninja sighs in relief before he looks to follow the crew. So far so good, Naruto muttered out before he looks to the others. Now comes the hard part. Actually getting inside is the easy part, Jack interrupted the young ninja. It's getting out that's hand. Whatever dash, you know what I mean. Naruto replied in annoyance. Let's get moving. And with that dash, with Naruto leading the way, they start to travel towards the casino. Making their way they pass the people who were giving them confused looks, especially at the hidden pirate, which was making them nervous. Quickly act like a Momo. Hector whispered to him. Right dash, gotcha. Jack whispered back, before asking. What's a Momo? Monkey dash, act like a monkey. Understanding the skeleton, Jack make a few monkey noises, which were terrible dash, making the others facepalm themselves and were secretly wishing for this to work. Naruto then starts to think of something to change the subject, then remembers something that Hector said to Sally. Hey Hector? The young ninja said, getting the skeleton's attention. You mentioned someone called Skellington before dash. Who is that? You've never heard of Jack Skellington? He asked in surprise. No, neither have I, mate dash. I thought I was the only Jack around. The pirate added. Hector sighs. Jack Skellington was a protector, here in the land of the dead. He told them the story. Before Oogie Boogie took over, he made sure that no one would live in fear, like your abuelo told him to. That earned him a look of surprise from the young ninja. He did? Yep. He even gave him a job at hosting a holiday, called Halloween Dash. They called him the Pumpkin King of Halloween. Hector carried on. And Senorita Sally is his novia. That got him a blank look from Naruto. That means girlfriends. Oh, then where is he? Naruto muttered, earning him a sad expression from Hector. Not too long after Oogie Boogie appeared, Skellington went off to face him by himself. He replied. But when he did dash, no one has heard from him ever since. There were a few rumors that he was banished from the land of the dead, or he's trapped inside that sack of Error's personal dungeons dash, but those are just rumors. Was there anyone else that could help him? The young ninja asked. Oh yes, there were many. Hector replied. Even the ruler of the land of the dead himself dash, Hades, was one of them. He stops in his steps. But ever since Oogie Boogie came into power dash, no one has heard from him as well either. So, everyone gave up dash except me. Really? Jack asked with a puzzled expression. So after one attempt of fighting back, they gave up? He makes a face at that. That sounds like my personal motto. Which is? Naruto asked with raised eyebrow. You've got to fight, to run away. The pirate answered, getting a sweat drop from Naruto and a look from Hector dash, which Jack took notice of. But never mind about that now dash, we have a job to do, and this monkey suit is beginning to itch. With that they carried on until they reached the top of the stairs and the entrance to the casino, where two skeleton bodyguards were standing guard. Just stick together, and follow my lead. Hector whispered to them before he adjusted his jacket as made his way towards the bodyguards with the others close behind. Hola! Hector greeted the bodyguards with a fake cheerfully tone. Don't mind us dash, me and my sobrino are just going inside where I can tech him the many joys of gambling. Seriously? Like that's gonna work. QB muttered out, like they were gonna get in dash. Have a good night. One of the bodyguards replied. Oh come on! The fox cried out in disbelief, and with that they were in. Seriously? Naruto asked with a look. Tech me about the many joys of gambling? You have any better excuses? Hector quickly asked the young ninja. Naruto stares at Hector for a moment, before he shrugs his shoulders. Not complaining dash, it's just reminded me of something Erosenin would do. He answered. That earned him looks from the two. Who? Another name for pervert. Huh. They muttered. Once they were past the entrance and inside, they looked around at what was inside and saw how crowded it was. The casino itself was set as a goth horror theme where most of the tables looked like torture devices, and the slot machines looked to be gunslinging robots. The lights were jack-o'-lanterns, and the staff were monsters themselves, with shock collars. All the while music was playing, Oogie Boogie's song instrumental. Naruto blinks as he looked around the place in shock. I didn't expect this. He muttered out. If you see ghosts and walking skeletons, you'll find the things not far behind, mate. Jack whispered back. They watch as a walking tree with a face with 4 hanging skeletons from its branches walks past them with a tray of drinks. Just like that one. The pirate added. Shaking his head, Naruto pulls out the compass and sees it pointing towards the other side of the room where a pair of double doors are, unguarded. We've got to get to those doors. The young ninja whispered so that no one else could hear them. They might lead us to what we need. With that, they traveled down the stairs to the casino main floor and start making their way through the crowd, making sure no one would recognize them. Just then the light and music go dark, surprising them before they hear a drum roll and spotlight moving about. Ghosts and ghouls of the land of the dead. A voice called out from the surround speakers of the casino. Introducing the one true ruler and popular monster around. The boogeyman himself. Me, poof. A large poof of purple smoke erupted from one of the tables close to our heroes, and when the smoke clears, Mr. Oogie Boogie Thee, the crowd cheer of the boogeyman's grand entrance, as our heroes look towards him. The boogeyman is covered from head to toe in a gray-green burlap sack, and an obvious seam is visible along the sides. Oogie is quite rotund, with stumpy legs and fingerless arms, tall physique. The eyes in Oogie's head are featureless black holes, as is the inside of his mouth, and the tip of his head extends outward and flops down. Our heroes give nervous looks as the boogeyman jumps off the table. Greetings, fellow undead citizens. Oogie Boogie called out to the crowd. It does me proud to see you all gambling, then starts to walk towards the flight of stairs. And remember, here at the boogeyman's casino we are open 24 hours a night 7 days a week. Where everyone's a winner. Before he whispered to himself, but mostly me. Then calls out. Oh. And before I forget just a little something to address, my good friend from the other side, Dr. Facilier A.K.A. The shadowman, has just told me that our city has got a couple of living tourists. Our heroes share a few nervous looks as the crowd look on at the boogeyman. And you know how I feel about the living. Oogie Boogie said as his expression became angry. Always trying to find a way to stop me but fail before they even try, thanks to a little extra bodyguards. And you do remember what happens when someone helps the living, right? They'll end up the same way as your hero Jack Skellington once did. Knocked down. Defeated. And spending the rest of his days rotting. And we don't want that now, do we? The crowd stays silent in fear, not sure if they want to answer him. Oogie Boogie narrows his hollow at the silence. I said now? Do we? He yelled out, startling the crowd, who quickly shake their heads and vocally agree with the boogeyman, making him smile. Ha 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 ha, that's what I like to hear, people. He then points towards the entrance doors, where a few members of Davey Jones' crew were standing. But just to make sure, Davey Jones himself has letted me a few of his men to keep an eye out for our living guests when they turn up. And when they do, well, let's just say they have wished they never came. Actor gulp, and he tugs his collar as Jack whispers to the young ninja. I'm not liking the sound of that, mate. Me neither. Naruto muttered back. Just remember, when you see them shout out, and when you do, Oogie Boogie carried on. You'll get a chance to win a free all-exclusive trip to the land of the living. The crowd all cheer when they hear that in excitement. So remember my motto here at the boogeyman's casino. He calls out as he lifts his arms in the air. It's just a scare away to win the Oogie Boogie way. Thank you. Thank you. As the crowd cheer again as the music and the light turn back on, our heroes watch and Oogie Boogie makes his way towards the double doors where the compass was pointing at and heads inside the next room. Come on! Naruto told his companions as they quickly follow the boogeyman through the double doors, unaware that one of Davey Jones's noticed their action and narrows his eyes at the direction. Hallway. We see our heroes hiding around a corner of the hallway to see Oogie Boogie making his way towards another room before entering it. Naruto quickly takes out the compass to see it pointing towards the other corner at the end of the hallway and turns to the other, and gestures towards the hallway, who nod and quickly and quietly seek past the room. What? They were startled by the noise and quickly lean against the wall where the door was. What do you mean you don't know where they went? They hear Oogie Boogie yelled angrily at someone. Didn't you tell me that your crew had them in your sights? You're already on thin ice with Facilier already. They're the only living people in this dead city. There's no way they can hide here. They become nervous when they hear Davey Jones coming from the room as well. Not good. They'll turn up soon or later. I don't want them found sooner or later. I want them found now. Oogie Boogie yelled more. Need I remind you that if you fail again we'll make sure that you'll never live the next hour. Maleficent gave me and the shadowman specific instructions that the boy and the key he has would be brought to her at all costs. Naruto blinks at hearing that. Who's Maleficent? And do I need to remind you, fish boy? Oogie carried on. Is that as long as we have that chest of yours you work for us? And your former boss Hades can't do a thing about it. Our heroes share a look of surprise not knowing that at all. Now get out there and do your job, Oogie shouted. And don't come back until you do. Of course, Mr. Oogie Boogie. Davey Jones replied, sounding annoyed, before they hear footsteps heading towards the door. The door open as Davey Jones steps out of the room. Slamming the door behind him angrily. The dead captain growls and angry before he mutters out, "Blasted sack of maggots." And start to head He stops suddenly as made a face. He quickly turns around to find no one. Davey Jones narrows his eyes. For a moment there he thought there were someone there before he looks down the hallway. With no one there, before looking down the other end. Still no one. The Dead Sea Captain raises an eyebrow. Strange, he muttered to himself, before he starts to head out to the city, unaware how close he was from discovering that our heroes were hiding at the other end of the hallway. Hector pokes his head and sees Davey Jones going around the corner, and sighs in relief. He's gone. He told the others, making them also sigh in relief as well. That was too close, Naruto replied. We got to get that tool and fast. I agree but first, get me out of this monkey suit. Jack also replied, getting deadpan looks from the others. Moments later, our heroes exit a bathroom now no longer in disguises and with Tinkerbell sitting on Naruto's head, and look around before Jack notices door labeled basement. The best treasures are always in the basement, the pirate said, getting their attention as he made his way to it. The others follow as Jack opens the door and heads down a level of stairs until they came to the bottom into another hallway with lit touches. Where to now, Mr. Uzumaki? The pirate asked the young ninja. And we don't have long until we're discovered. How about that? Hector asked, pointing to the wall behind Jack making said pirate turn to see the sign which says powerful items pointing down the right hallway. Jack makes a look after seeing that. Oh. The pirate muttered out. Never mind them. With that, Jack starts to head down the hallway with Hector not far behind him. Naruto also starts to follow them as he takes out the compass to see it pointing He stops and blinks. The hell? Taking a closer look at it, he saw that the compass was pointing the opposite direction. The young ninja stares at it, before he turns to look down the other hallway with a confused expression which was also shared with Tinkerbell. Taking notice that the young ninja and fairy weren't following them, they stop with confused looks before Jack called out. Not sure why you're standing there, mate but I think we must make haste. Naruto turns to them. We need to go down this way, he replied, pointing to the hallway behind him. I don't know why but the compass is telling me what we need is down there. That earned him looks from the pirate and the skeleton, who both share a look before looking back to the young ninja. That can't be right, Jack muttered in confusion before pointing down the hallway he was going. Shouldn't it be pointing down here not down there? I'm not sure why either, but, the young ninja muttered out as he took another look at the compass. It just does for some reason. He then looks up to the hallway with a puzzled expression, before he blinks as a thought came in his head. What if? He turns back to the skeleton and asks. Hector, didn't you say something about a dungeon before? Well, yeah, the skeleton replied. I said before that it's where Senior Skellington is rumored to be held captive. Why, you ask, little amigo? What if that wasn't a rumor at all? Naruto replied, getting looks from everyone before he turns to them. What if that bag of bugs did put Jack Skellington in the dungeons and that the dungeons is right that hallway right under the casino? And what better place to have an enemy locked up than right under your very nose, where he's kept a close eye on? Jack added, realizing the idea as well. That's sneaky. Then, if what you're saying is true, then Senior Skellington is here? Right here? Hector asked in excitement. Ha! I knew it! I knew he was still in the city and not dead. It's more than that, Naruto said, getting their attention. If the compass is right, then I think the Pumpkin King has the tool we need to find the artifact. Jack gives a cheeky grin at hearing that. Now that is something I like to hear, mate, he replied. Naruto turns to look down the hallway the compass was pointing to and gives off a determined smile. Then let's free us a friend, he said before they took off down the hallway with Jack, Hector and Tinkerbell not far behind him as they try and find Jack Skellington. A few levels below the Boogeyman's casino, we find our heroes heading down a hallway following the pointer of the compass dash, where they will hopefully find the dungeons and where the person called Jack Skellington are. We've been following that thing for a while, Dash. Shouldn't we be close to it by now? Hector said to the pirate, breaking the silence. Patience, my bony friend. You can't rush these sort of things, Dash. When you're on a course you must follow it no matter how long it takes. Jack told the skeleton, before he quickly asked the young ninja, Are we there yet? We've been walking for a while now. Hector pauses after hearing that before he deadpanned the pirate before he continued following the young ninja. We should be somewhere close now, Dash, so keep your eyes open. Naruto replied to the pirate, then took notice that the compass was slowly turning to the right. He stops to stare at it, before he looked to the side to see a wooden door with a stone arch. When he looked up, he saw the sign labeled as the dungeons. This was it. Good, we've found the door to the dungeons, Jack replied, then made a face at what he just said. That's something I didn't expect to say. Naruto grabs the handle and pushes the door open, to reveals an open spiral stone staircase leading a few levels down to the dungeon floor dash, where a few lit lanterns and torches lit the whole room while giving off an air atmosphere. Really creepy. Well, this is charming, isn't it, Dash? Feels just like my old home, the pirate said sarcastically. Naruto starts to head down the stairs with Tinkerbell lighting the way, with Jack and Hector Dash, who closes the door behind him, not far behind. When they reach the bottom, they look around the room to see if anyone was here. Hello? Naruto called out. Hello, Senior Skellington? Are you here? Hector also called out. We've come to save you. Jack walks towards one of the cells to check inside, but no one was inside, except a skeleton dog sitting on the floor, holding a ring of keys. Jack raises an eyebrow at that and soon realizes who the dog was. So this is where you went? He said to the dog before shrugging. At least you have the same job, Dash, except with less weight now. Meanwhile, Naruto walked further into the dungeons with Tinkerbell flying next to him, lighting the way, to see if he could find Jack Skellington in any of the cells close to him. Hello? Jack Skellington? The young ninja called out again. Can you hear me? When he reached the last cell at the end, he paused and took notice that it wasn't empty. He leans to take a closer look, before he blinked at what he was seeing. There, hanging on the wall dash, with his arms chained to it, was a tall white skeleton that was extremely slender, wears a black and white Gothic-style tuxedo with a bat-like bow tie, and he had his eyes closed as he looks to be either unconscious or asleep. This must be him. Hey guys, I think I've found him, Naruto called out to the others, who quickly joined him to take a look. This is Mr. Skellington? The pirate asked with a raised eyebrow. He looks thin. Hector grabs the bars to the cell and calls out. Senior Skellington? Wake up. We've come to recuse you. Hoping to get a response from the Pumpkin King, but got no answer. You don't think he's? The pirate asked, dreading the answer. Hector scoffs at that. Of course not, Dash. He's not dead, he told him. When you die in the land of the dead, you fade away into dust to the next life beyond here, Dash. So he's alive. So why isn't he moving then? Naruto asked while looking at Jack Skellington. That I don't know, the skeleton answered, making everyone sigh. Awake or not, Dash, freeing a possible ally isn't the only reason why we are here. Jack reminded them. He's right, Naruto replied as he takes out his key. We need to get whatever it is he has, Dash, and get it quick. I wouldn't do that if I were you, a voice called out, making our heroes freeze. Was that either of you, Dash? Because I know it wasn't me, the pirate asked, breaking the silence, which both Hector and Tinkerbell shake their heads no. Naruto then took notice of a blue glow a few cells down towards the end of the wall, and raises an eyebrow at that, before he slowly made his way towards it. Jack and Hector both share a look, before they looked to Tinkerbell Dash, who took notice of them, before she huffed and flew after the young ninja. When Naruto reached the cell and looked inside, he blinked at how big the room was compared to the other cells, and how fancy. Inside was a large bed next to a barred window looking over the dead city, and a large table in the middle of the room where what looked to have a few small models of a few buildings and vehicles in all sizes. Then next to the table was a large chair, where we find the occupier of the cell himself, and was gobsmacked by his appearance. The being was a blue-gray humanoid with flaming blue hair, wearing a black robe and a smoky base, with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. And said person was Dash, from the looks of it, making a model using a magnifying glass for the small details. He must like models. Flaming blue hair? Really? You gonna stand there all day, kid, or talk, Dash? I don't get that many guests down here. The being said, focusing on finishing his latest model. Actually, I don't get any guests at all, Dash, so that's a plus in my book. Who are you? The young ninja asked after a moment. The being raises a finger. Ah, Dash, isn't it common courtesy to tell your name first before asking someone else's? He said. Naruto blinks at that. Oh, why yeah? He muttered out as Jack and Hector walked to his side. It's Naruto Uzumaki, sir, and these are my friends, Jack, Hector, and Tinkerbell. The being raises an eyebrow at that before he turns to look at the group. I swear they're a joke about this, Dash. A pirate, a ninja, a fairy, and a dead musician walk in a dungeon. The being said before he chuckled, getting shared confused looks from out heroes. What about you then? What are you called? The pirate asked. Don't you know? The being asked before hanging his head a sighs. Of course not, Dash. You would think after so many years of ruling this place people would know. Hector narrows his eyes in thought, before they widen as he gasps. Are you Hades? He slowly asked, getting looks from the others. Who's that? Jack asked. The being gets up from his chair, Dash, after putting the magnifying glass down. That's me, Dash, I'm Hades. Ruler of the land of the dead, Dash, and the most powerful being you'll even meet. That got him looks from the young ninja and the pirate, while Tinkerbell's eyes widen before she bows to the Lord of the Dead. You're the Lord of the Dead? Jack asked. As in, Lord of the Dead, dead? That's me, Pirate Dreadlocks. The pirate deadpants after hearing that. Don't call me that, Dash, I hate it. He muttered out. If you're the Lord of the Dead, why are you locked up here? Naruto asked him. Shouldn't you be out there? That's the thing, kid, Dash, I can't get out. Hades answered. And not because of the locked door, Dash. Because honestly I could melt it off and escape this place in seconds. I can't get out because I'm trapped here by some magic that sack of bugs used to get me sealed here. Sure, I can stick my arm out and all, Dash, but that's how far I can do. Lord Hades, sir. Hector nervously said. What do you mean about not letting Senior Skellington out? We came here to help. A few reasons, really. Hades replied. The first is that as soon as you open the cell you'll set the alarm off and alert everyone that you're here, Dash, including the bug bag. And the second is because my cellmate is under a sleeping spell and only a kiss will wake him up, Dash, and trust me, you do not want to go there. The men in the group grimaced that. You, they said together while Tinkerbell rolls her eyes. Naruto shakes his head to get back on track. I don't understand it, Dash. How can this place get taken over this quickly? He asked. Not quickly, kid, I should know, Dash. I've been locked up here for years. Hades answered. This has been years in the making, Dash, even before King made the kingdom itself. That got his puzzled and confused from Naruto before he asked. King? There was a king. Of course there was a king. Jack answered. You can't call it a kingdom without having a king to rule, Dash. It's protocol. He was the one who created everyone here, amigo. Hector told the young ninja. But it's been so many years I can't remember the tale for it. It's a good thing that I remember it then, Dash, because I was there when the king ruled. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that. Can you tell us? I've never even heard about his king before. He asked with Tinkerbell, who nodded. Hades raises an eyebrow at the question. You want to know? As in, Dash, you want me, the Lord of the Dead, to tell you about the king and how this place came to be? He asked, gesturing to himself, before shrugging. Okay, I guess I'll be a narrator for a change here, Dash. Never done it before, but hey, how hard can it be? Our heroes share a look, not sure what to think. I'm new to this, so cut me some slack. Hades said as he creates a ball of magic blue fire, before he threw it at the wall, which started to form shadowed images, surprising our heroes. Whoa, Naruto muttered out. Now that's impressive. Jack added. Thank you? Hades replied before he clears his throat to start the tale. Okay, so long ago this world was in chaos. The images form a village being attacked by monsters. Darkness roamed the land, creating creatures and monsters made from the shadow. The image changed into a large shadowed monster looking down at a burning village, destroying the lives of all who stood in its way. Naruto looks at the images, and is reminded how familiar this was when the fox attacked Konoha years ago. Except compared to this one, I was alone to do the destruction. The QB commented on Naruto thought. All hope was lost until one person came from a faraway land. The next image show a figure on a hill with 6 floating objects around him, and with him brought magical artifacts and with it pushed the darkness back to the depths it came. The image changes to show the figure using the objects to push back the monsters who shy away looking afraid of the objects. Then using the artifact lock them where no one can ever release them. The next image shows the shadowed creatures disappearing into a whirling portal before it closes behind them. When the danger passed, he looked at the destruction and lives that the darkness left behind, leaving many homeless and afraid. The image shows the village in ruins, so he decided to create a kingdom so large that it covered the country, where many would live happily. The next image shows the figure using the artifact to create buildings that grew and grew, and with that the people of the kingdom crowned him as their king. The images changes into the figure now wearing a crown on his head. Hold on, he became king just like that? Jack interrupted Hades. Isn't that just a little simple to anyone? Look I'm not the one who wrote the story, okay? Hades replied sounding annoyed. I'm just telling it. Now let me finish it. I apologize. Jack sheepishly replied. Where was I? The Lord of the Dead mutters and he rubs his chin, and quickly remembers. Oh right, however, he soon realizes that someday the darkness would return again for revenge and he knew he may not be able to defeat it again. The images shows the king looking from a balcony to the distance, as images of the shadowed monsters. So using the power of the artifacts he created life. The next image shows the king using the artifacts to create a living creatures, a small humanoid mouse. Naruto blinks at that and narrows his eyes at the creatures in confusion. He made a mouse? He asked with a raised eyebrow. I know not the first things I would make myself if put in his place, but he did. Hades replied with a shrug. Naruto looks back at the wall as sees the images showing the king creating more creatures of all shape and sizes. And with life, he created guardians to help protect the kingdom, and what better characters than the ones in fairy tales. The images changes into giants, animals and dragons. As years passed the kingdom thrived, as well as technology. The next images shows the kingdom growing and evolving. But where there is light, there is also darkness. The next images shows a few guardians becoming shadowed figures, before it changes to show the figures causing mischief and accidents. Hector gulps at that. That is not a good sign. He muttered quietly. The king notices the changes happening to his citizens and guardians, but he could not find a way to stop it. The images shows the king looking at the shadowed figures, and created more guardians to help defend the kingdom. The images changes showing the king creating more creatures to help defend the kingdom. And with that brought war. The next images show the guardians and the citizens both corrupted and not, attacking each other. Swords were clashing, cannons were firing, blasts of magic and many lives being lost on both sides. Naruto could not look away from the images as he is reminded from his past experience when Odogekure and Suna attacked Konoha and how he felt when the third Hokage fell in battle against Orochimaru, before he gained a sad expression of understanding. Jack notices the young ninja's expression. It really never an easy thing, is it? Jack said, getting Naruto attention. All that fighting and for what? All you get at the end is that you'll feel a little less inside. Yeah. Naruto muttered out, before looking back to the wall. On and on, the battle continued for many months and many years. The images shows more guardians fighting each other. But over time the king realizes that besides the guardians he created, only he was the only human left in the kingdom. The images shows the king looking for the human figures, but couldn't find them. This shows the king looking to the sea to find that they escaped by boats away from the battle. They didn't want to stay in a kingdom ridden in war, and sailed away from the kingdom. The images shows the boats disappearing into the distance. It then changes as it shows the king looking at the battle and disappointment at the creatures he created, and with himself. Knowing that he could not destroy what he created, he decided for the fighting to stop, and make peace. The images changes again to show the king stopping the war by standing in between the two sides, before it changed again to show the two sides shaking hands as like they were old friends. There were a few who didn't follow his quest for peace, and went into hiding away from everyone else, swearing to take the artifacts away from the king, and create a new age of darkness. The images shows a few shadowed figures led by a female with horns turning their back to the king and into the forests. Fearing that they come back, he decided to separate the artifacts and hid 5 of them in 5 different locations, hidden within the kingdom, while the 6th one was kept close to him. The images changes to the king with 6 objects floating around him before showing 5 of them shooting off into separate directions, while he kept hold of the 6th, until the day they would come together again. Naruto blinks at that 6 artifacts. That sounded like the same ones that he was searching. His eyes widen as it struck him and realizes why Hades was telling the story. That would mean. He turns to the Lord of the Dead and notices a smirk on Hades' face, knowing that he figured it out. The king in this story the one you said created the kingdom, Naruto said to Hades. It was my Gigi, wasn't it? Got it in one kid. The Lord of the Dead replied, pointing at the young ninja. So you knew who I really was this whole time then the moment you saw me. Hades shrugs his shoulders. It wasn't that hard to figure out you have that same look your old man had years back. The grandson of Walt Disney the key bearer himself. Naruto looks back at the image of the king, not sure what to think after hearing that. He suddenly blinks as another thought hit him. Wait, does that mean that everyone I've met since coming here are my relatives? He asked and dreaded as he thought that he was related to a dead captain, or worse yet a sack of bugs. He turns green at that thought. Oh dear Kami! He mentally replied, that is the most disturbing thing I ever heard in my life. The QB muttered out in disgust. Luckily you're not related to everyone here just so you know. Hades quickly answered the young ninja. So trust me you don't have any creepy uncles or green aunts. The young ninja sighs in relief at that. But you do have 2 uncles thought. That earned him surprised looks from everyone. What? Naruto muttered out. Uncles. You have 2 uncles one that no one know who and the other's a mouse. Hades told them. Considering they were his first creations he saw them as his sons, so yeah. Ha 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 ha. The QB mentally laughs as the sound of his fists hit the floor. This is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. You have an uncle that's a mouse. Ha 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 ha. Naruto's eyebrow twitches and his face turns red and angry. Not funny furball. He mentally yelled back before he cut the connection. Hector then asked Hades. What happened after that? Simple really, the guardians like myself included, were given roles that would be best suited to the 5 lands in the kingdom. The gestures to the wall as the images formed into written words. Frontier land for the people who wanted to travel and explore. The word changed to more words. Adventure land for those who seek the thrill of adventure. More word appear in its place. Fantasy land, where myth and magic dwell. And again. Tomorrowland, where the future is to infinity and beyond. And again. And Main Street, for where the common man can exist. Hades then made the word vanish before he says. 5 lands for 5 artifacts all hidden in places no one would think to look unless you have the right tools to find them. While the last one he kept close. That must have been the magic paintbrush he and Sid was talking about before. Naruto mentally said before he turned to look at the wall and begins to get lost in his thoughts. He never knew that his grandfather was this important to everyone, even more important than, what about my mother? The young ninja quietly asked the Lord of the Dead before he turns to him. Can you tell me about her? Or where I can find her? Sorry kid not much to tell you about that Your old man made sure your mother's identity was well hidden to make sure no one knows not even me. And I know a lot of things. Hades answered him. If you want to know more about her, you'll have to ask her yourself. The young ninja sighs after hearing that, but with a small smile knowing that his mother was somewhere alive, but not sure where. What about how that bug man captured you? The pirate suddenly asked, getting everyone's attention. I mean, I would understand with capturing someone and all. But how did he get you? Aren't you all powerful or something? Hades narrows his eyes and angry at hearing the boogeyman. That sack of insects had something that helped drain me of my powers, that's how. He answered the pirate as his skin starts to turn red, as well as his fairy hair. As soon as he turned up, he came knocking at my door and claimed to be the new Lord of the Dead. The fire spreads to his shoulders and Hades gets angrier, making the others nervously take a few steps away from him. There's only one Lord of the Dead here. And that's me. As he angrily yells out the last word, the fire shoots up in a blaze, surprising out heroes as they feel the heat off the flames. The fire then starts to settle as Hades breathes heavily before he takes a deep breath to cool down, turning back to blue-gray and his hair blue. Okay, fine. I'm cool. I'm fine. He replied as our heroes look on with looks. I think you might need some anger management lessons, mate. Jack called out, getting deadpan look from the Lord of the Dead. Trust me, it never works out. Hades replied. Changing the subject, Naruto asks. What about everywhere else in the kingdom? Are they the same like here in Frontier Land? Basically, yeah. Hades answered. Him and the shadowman back in the living are both in some sort of group called the Overtakers or something. Naruto eyes widen after hearing that. First they took over Main Street and either drove everyone who lived there out or turned to stone statues. Then they basically did the same to Frontierland. Except now they have trapped prisoners instead of statues and can't escape their own homes to the town. Same with the Adventureland too. Except that I heard that there's some sort of resistance going on. Not sure what's going on at the Fantasyland. Cause no one has heard anything from there. But I do know that Tomorrowland is still safe. Protected by a force field of some kind or whatever. So Tomorrowland is the only safest place in the whole kingdom? Jack muttered before he smiled. Fancy that. I'll tell you this though, so far ever after they nearly taken over the whole kingdom. They still can't find the artifacts. Hades told the young ninja. We're in luck then. Jack replied. Because we're a step ahead. We just need to find the thing to help us locate it. Naruto's eyes widen as he remembers why they were here. That's right, he said as he takes out the compass. The compass said that the thing we need is in here. So Jack should have it. The pirate gives the young ninja a look. I do? He asked in confusion. Not you, Jack the other Jack. Ah. That's clearer. I don't think he'll have it. Hades said, getting everyone's attention. What do you mean, he must have it? The pirate answered. Who else would have it? Hades points to the compass. Check it again, you'll be surprised, he said mysteriously. Raising an eyebrow at that, Naruto looks again to the compass, was pointing forward. Blinking in surprise, the young ninja looks at Hades, who was smirking at him. It's you have it? He asked the Lord of the Dead. The Lord of the Dead chuckles before saying, You were right about one thing, kid. He then walked towards the table and picked up an object. Jack Skellington did had it on him, but gave it to me saying to keep it hidden. He walks back to the young ninja. At first I didn't know why, but now, I think he was waiting for you to have it. Then handed him what he had, which he took. A magnifying glass? The young ninja asked as he stares at it with a raised eyebrow. You'll be surprised how the simplest things turn out to be a huge advantage. Hades replied with a smile. What's so special about it? The pirate asked, not sure what to think. What can you use a magnifying glass for? Hades answered with a question. To find small clues, and with this, hidden secrets, go ahead, take a look. Naruto looks at the magnifying glass with a puzzled expression. Before he uses it as he faces the cell, he blinks as he took notice something that wasn't there before. Around the whole cell that Hades was in, was covered in what looked to be glowing blue symbols. He looks away to see no symbols before looking back at the magnifying glass and sees the symbols again. Whoa! The young ninja muttered as Jack and Hector lean over to see the symbols in the magnifying glass. That's impressive, mate. The pirate added. Remind me to borrow it sometime. Now that you have the tool, you can get back to the land of the living. Use it to find that artifact before anyone else does. Hades told them. But what about you, and Senior Skellington? We can't just leave you both here? Hector asked. He's right, Naruto said as a determined expression forms on his face. We've got to get the both of you out of here. Well, getting our bony friend out is easy enough, if you don't set off the alarms, Jack replied. But how do we get Hothead out? I think the real question is, a voice called out, making out Hero's turn, and see Davey Jones and his crew standing there. What's gonna happen when Mr. Oogie Boogie is done with the lot of ya? The Dead Sea Captain replied. From my guess, it's not gonna be pleasant. Naruto takes a few steps away from the dead crew nervously. Don't do it, Jones! Hades called to Davey Jones as he grips the bars of his cell. You know you don't want to help that sack of bugs. Oh, but he does, former Lord of the Dead. Another voice called out as everyone turns to see the boogeyman himself making his way down the stairs towards them. And he knows it too, unless he wants to end up like the rest who oppose me. Davey Jones grows after hearing that as Oogie Boogie brushes past him. So, I get to finally meet the boy everyone seems to be talking about. Oogie Boogie says as he narrows his eyes at the young ninja. Truth be told, I pictured you be taller. Yeah? Well, you look like a bag of crap. Naruto fired back. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, feisty little man, aren't ya? The boogeyman laughed. Well, not to worry, because Mr. Oogie Boogie has something special planned for you. He then turns to Davey Jones. Take them to the office. I have something specially planned for them all. With that, the dead crew quickly grab out Heroes before they could do anything and start taking them out of the dungeons. Oogie Boogie then turns back to Hades who was glaring at him. Love to stay and chat, Hades but I've got plans. Bye, he said, waving before he laughs and also exits the dungeons, leaving the Lord of the Dead and Jack Skellington alone. Or so the boogeyman thought, at least. After making sure the Oogie Boogie was gone, Hades whispers. You can come out now. And out of hiding was Tinkerbell who was hiding in another cell, making sure she wasn't spotted, before she flew towards Hades. Smart thinking, little lady but now there's a problem. The Lord of the Dead told her. Now that your friend are captured, you need to save them and you can't do it alone. Tinkerbell does a couple of bell sounds in worry. The only way you can help them. Hades replied as if he knows what she was saying. Now listen closely, and whispers the plan to her. Back at the hallway. As Davey Jones and his crew take our heroes thought the hallway towards the boogeyman's office with Oogie Boogie leading the way, the dead captain whispers to the young ninja. I know that the fairy isn't with you, boy, but that sack of maggots doesn't need to know that yet. That earned him a look from the young ninja. You just better pray she finds a way to save you and your friends before it's too late. You're helping us? Naruto whispered back. If Hades himself thinks you can find a way to stop all this, then I'll have to take his word on it. He then looks at the young ninja. And that's the only help you're getting, no more or less. With that, Naruto looks ahead now, knowing that Davey Jones was on their side, not Oogie Boogie's or the Shadowman's. At least we know he hates working with that sack of bugs. Kyubi said to the young ninja. Too bad he can't do anything about it. He's made sure that Tinkerbell wasn't captured, so she's safe. Naruto mentally replied back. And if I'm right, Hades might have a plan to help us. And if he doesn't? The fox asked. Then we're all in deep trouble. I hope you enjoyed your stay here at the Boogeyman's casino. Oogie Boogie called out to our heroes. Because very soon, you'll wish you didn't stay. Ha 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 ha. After hearing that villainous laugh from Oogie Boogie, our heroes share a look, not liking the sounds of that, and wonder what the Boogeyman has in store for them. And how are they gonna escape before it's too late? The busy crowd in the Boogeyman's casino was abuzz and loud, where the citizens of the land of the dead were playing slot machines, blackjack, go fish, poker, and many more games, while the monsters were serving them drinks. While up above, looking over them from a private office of the casino, was where we find our heroes taken prisoner by Oogie Boogie, and the dead crew of Davey Jones and the dead captain himself, with the Boogeyman himself holding the magical magnifying glass. Not good. Who would have thought that this little thing had the power to find hidden secrets? Oogie Boogie said as he looks at the magnifying glass with a smirk on his face. And it was right under my nose all this time. if I had a nose dash, that is. He chuckled as he throws it in the air before catching it in his other hand. Oh, the boss lady will be pleased to hear this dash. I can picture it now. He then turns to our trapped hero's dash, specifically the young ninja. Especially after handing you over to her. You are a monstro, Hector angrily said. Trapping Senior Skellington is one thing. But let the Chico go. No can do, bonehead. The boogeyman replied as he walks towards the heroes. You see, we have plans for him, dash, not because of the key he has. What are you talking about? Naruto asked with narrowed eyes. Don't worry about it, brat. Oogie Boogie replied as he leans his head to the young ninja. You'll find out soon enough. Ha 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 ha. Not that I want to point things out. The pirate asked, getting everyone's attention. But now that you have what you wanted, dash, what about us, me mostly? Well, that's an easy answer. The boogeyman said as he made his way to the pirate. You're gonna have a one-way trip to the sea, dash, courtesy of your good old friend. Jack gives the boogeyman a look before he looks behind him to see Davey Jones, who is giving him a smug grin, making him gulp nervously. He looked back at Oogie Boogie. Is there another choice besides going with him? Well, there is another way. The boogeyman answered as he made his way to his desk. But you not gonna like it. Before pushing a button on the desk. With that, the center of the floor opened up in a spiral fashion in front of our heroes, startling them, before their eyes widen as what they saw in it. Souls. What they saw was a bottomless well of souls, dash, flowing like water, going around in circle as their cries call out, dash, trapped with no way out. This little number here is what's called the Well of the River Styx, dash, a little something Hades already had, by the way. Oogie Boogie told our heroes, a place where all the not-so-good souls end up when they die. Forever trapped with no way to escape, or all eternity, wouldn't you agree? Naruto keeps staring at the well as he watches the souls cry out, dash, with a nervous expression on his face. This is even worse than what the Shinigami would do to the dead. The Kyuubi said to the young ninja with nervous tone in his voice. After thinking it over, dash, very carefully, I'll take the first option, thanks. The pirate quickly replied with a nervous grin. Don't do well in cramped spaces. Smart choice. The boogeyman replied. Sad to say, dash, I can't say the same about the music man. Naruto snaps his head up with wide eyes before he turns to Hector, dash, who also had wide eyes. You see, since he's already dead, dash, there wouldn't be the point of giving him to Davey Jones now, would there? Oogie Boogie explained to our heroes as he made his way towards Hector. This way he'll be sure to never come back. You bastard! Naruto angrily shouted at the boogeyman. Thank you, you're too kind. Oogie Boogie said with a wicked grin before turning to Hector and asks him. Any last words you would like to say? Hector narrows his eyes at the boogeyman with a determined expression. You may have stopped me from freeing Senior Skellington. But I promise you, dash, another will take my place to do the same, and they'll end up the same, dash, trapped and with no one to help them escape, just like you. The boogeyman says, poking Hector's chest. And like anybody else, they'll know that the Pumpkin King will never wake up or escape, ever again. Ha 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 ha. I would like to point out that this might be a good time for a distraction to help Hector, dash, don't you think? The pirate quickly asked Naruto. Distraction? Like what? The young ninja asked. Slam. They were startled by the door slammed open, but before they turned around a green slime substance slammed into Oogie Boogie, knocking him into and over his desk. Like that, of course, said Jack, seeing the distraction, and elbows his captive before throwing him over his shoulder into the well of souls, dash, with Naruto making a quick hand sign. Kagebushin no Jutsu. The young ninja called out, making half a dozen clones, making them attack the rest of the dead crew, dash, who were surprised by the jutsu. Hector, dash, after getting over his surprise, pocks the eyes of one of the members, who cries in pain before being kicked down below and topples over. Davey Jones, dash, while growls in anger, reaches for his sword, dash, but stops when someone taps his shoulder, making his turn to see a fist. Bam! Hitting him and knocking into a few of his crew mates to the floor in pain. Seeing the dead captain taken down, the young ninja turns to see who was helping him, which turned out to be Senior Skellington? Hector called out in surprise, who also looked. The Pumpkin King himself stood tall and smiled at our heroes. Sorry for being late, dash. You wouldn't believe how stiff my bones were after not moving for so long. He told them. Totally understandable, mate dash. I would feel the same as well. The pirate replied, at which Oogie Boogie gets up from behind the desk moaning in pain and takes notice of the extra gust. What? JJ Jack? He yelled out in shock. But how? There was no way you could have escaped. You were put under a sleeping spell? You did. Jack Skellington answered, raising his finger. And I would still be there if it wasn't for a little friend. Before Tinkerbell appears behind him and pulls her eyelid down and sticks her tongue at the boogeyman. Next time try using a spell that can't be broken with a kiss. The boogeyman growls in anger before he yells out. You think you can defeat me so easily? Think again. He then smashes another button on his desk. Belarm, belarm, belarm. Our heroes look around as they hear the alarms going off, alerting the whole casino. That Oogie Boogie set off. Mierda. Actor muttered. It won't be long until the rest get here. Then you'll be surrounded. The boogeyman said, smuggled to them. And you can't stop them all. Naruto turns to the door as he hears over the alarms multiple footsteps heading towards them. He quickly makes more clones who quickly rush to the door to block it so no one can get in. We're trapped. Between a roca and a hard place. Actor said to the others. What do we do? The young ninja looks around as he sees the dead crew and Davey Jones starting to get up. Looking angry, mind you. He looks for a way out before they are captured again. Can't find one. No escape vents, no back door, no secret passage, no fire escape at the wind. Naruto blinks before he looks towards the window, before a grin forms on his face as an idea forms. Guys? He said, getting their attention. I have an idea. But we need something large and soft. He then looks to Oogie Boogie as his grin forms into a more devilish grin, making the boogeyman slightly nervous. Catching on to what the young ninja was planning, the pirate also grins at the boogeyman as well. Ooh, I'm going to enjoy this. He replied. Enjoy what? Actor asked with a raised eyebrow. Casino main floor. The people in the casino unaware of the alarms going off, continue enjoying themselves, having a good time. Crash. Crash. Until Oogie Boogie came crashing from the window onto a casino table. Which in turn breaks from the sudden weight, with our heroes holding onto the sack of bugs while using him as a crash mat, startling everyone in the casino. That's got to hurt. Actor was the first to get up as he felt the rush. I did enjoy that. He replied as the others got up as well. Leaving the boogeyman on the floor. Let's go. Naruto said and starts running to the exit with the others not far behind. Except for the pirate. Jack quickly notices the magnifying glass still in Oogie Boogie's hand, and takes it with him. You won't be needing this, he said before he quickly follows the others. Ow, the boogeyman moaned out in pain. From the office, Davey Jones looks out the broken window and watches as our heroes push out the panicked crowd, before he smirks. Clever boy, he mutters to himself. But what about Hades? Naruto asked as they got out of the panicked crowd. We can't leave him behind. We can't go back for him either. Or we'll end up just like him too. Sparrow quickly added. Or worse. Not to worry, Skellington answered. Hades has a plan. He told me so himself. What we need right now is to get you guys back to the living. I'm for that, the pirate replied. Anything's better than here. No offense. Skellington pushes the doors open and with our heroes exit the casino in a sprint, but skids to a stop as they notice more members of Davy Jones's crew running up the stairs towards them with their swords drawn. Oh, come on, Naruto said. Where do we go now? The pirate ponders for a moment, before his eyes widen and turns to look up at the roof of the casino where his ship was placed. We climb, the pirate said and starts to quickly climb up the tree. Quickly following the pirate, our heroes start climbing the tree as they make their way to the ship or in this case tree walking in Naruto's case. While the dead crew members right behind them, the doors slam open and Davy Jones comes out of the casino before he turns to see our heroes heading towards the ship. That's when Oogie Boogie comes out looking angry covering up his painful expression. Where are they? The boogeyman angrily yells at Davy Jones. Nobody damages my casino, and uses me as crash mat and gets away with it. To the roofs, Mr. Boogie. The Dead Sea Captain answered, making Oogie Boogie turn to see them. The boogeyman stares for a moment, before he laughs. Ha 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 ha! Are they stupid or crazy? That's the last place they want to be, he replied. They're trapped up there with no way out. Davey Jones looks back to our heroes who have now reached the ship and are now climbing aboard. With our heroes. Why did you bring us up here? Naruto asked the pirate when he got on board. We'll be trapped. If I remember correctly, Madame Leota told us that the only way to get out of the land of the dead would be the peel. The pirate answered as he made his way to the ship's wheel. And I'm not leaving my ship behind. And how are you gonna do that? Hector asked as he looks over the side of the ship to see Davy Jones's crew getting closer to them. The ship is stuck here. That, my friend, I haven't got the foggiest. The pirate answered, making Naruto face plant the floor. Quickly getting back up, the young ninja shouts. You don't know? How do you not know? I really plan that far ahead. Sparrow sheepishly answered. Unless you know of some way to blow up off this thing. Naruto opens his mouth to yell again. He stops as his eyes widen as an idea formed. Blow up, he muttered before a smile forms on his face. That's it. Everyone looks to the young ninja while for some reason the pirate didn't like the look on the young ninja's face. I don't like that look, the pirate muttered. Naruto opens up his pouch and pulls a lot of paper tags with writing on them. We're gonna blow our way off, he said before he gives the tags to Hector and Skellington. Wait, what? Sparrow said. We've got to stick these tags around the ship, the young ninja told the skeleton duo. When you're done, get back on the ship. You're the boss, amigo. Hector replied with a salute, and both he and Skellington leaped off the ship to start planting the tags. I was only joking about the blowing up part. Do not be blowing up my ship, Sparrow told the ninja. You just get ready when it happens, Naruto told the pirate before he made more clones. Just tell these guys what to do. Think of them as your new pirate crew. Except you don't pay them. Before he leaped off to face the oncoming bad guys, staring at where the young ninja went for a moment. Free crew? Sparrow muttered out. He then turns to look at the clones, before he shrugged and shouts to them, giving orders. Well? You heard him, copycats. Weigh the anchor. Tie down the cannons. Drop the sails, you bilge rats. And get ready to set sail. Which the clones soon did as the race around the deck at the jobs. It's gonna be a bumpy one. With that, the clones follow Sparrow's orders as they tie down the cannons, bring in the anchor and drop the sails, getting ready for whatever was about to happen. Meanwhile, the original young ninja pulls out his kunai as he blocks a swinging sword from the dead crew aimed at him before kicking off the tree, and watching falls to the ground, while he dodged a couple of more swings from another before punching him in the head, which turned out to be an eel. He was then grappled from behind by a member who had a seashell for a head, but Naruto slammed the back of his head into his face, knocking the said head off and getting out of its grip before making a face at now headless dead crewman. That's disturbing, the young ninja muttered to himself before he leaped back to avoid another sword swipe. All the tags are in place, Jack Skellington called out after he and Hector returned to the ship. We're good to go, Hector added. About time, Naruto called back before he ducked under another sword swing. He then leaps back onto the Black Pearl. Grab onto something and hold on tight. Following his advice, they grab onto the railings of the ship. While Tinkerbell flies into the young ninja's jacket and clings to it, and Sparrow grabbing the wheel. I would like to point out that whatever this plan of yours, I hate it, the pirate told the young ninja. Besides, what does putting bits of paper around my ship gonna do? Naruto then makes a hand sign and pushes his chakra into it. Making the tags start to spark until, kablum, the whole treehouse shook as the tags went off in a big explosion, startling everyone who heard it while blowing away the rest of Davy Jones's crew who were on the tree. And oh, not my casino! The boogeyman cried out while having his hand on his head. They're ruining it. It was then that he and Davy Jones saw the pirate ship was sent into the air by the explosion as well and away from the casino, before making its descent as he falls as he rides down the casino towards him. Wait, what? Oh! Oogie Boogie muttered before he and Davy Jones leaped out of the way before the ship could flatten them. As the ship shoots past them, making its way down the stairs. Hey! Come back here with my ship! Oogie Boogie yelled as he was getting up. I stole that fair and square. He then turns to Davy Jones. Don't just stand there, Get you men and chase them down. The Dead Sea's captain turns to his crew and says, Go after them. Use the hook bats to do it. Go! Which the dead crew quickly follows his orders. He then turns back to the boogeyman. If they can't catch them, I will. You better hope so, Oogie Boogie replied. Or it'll be you who'll go down that well instead. As the Black Pearl reaches the bottom of the stairs, it slips onto a large wooden four-wheel cart and carries on into the streets downhill. As the skeleton people quickly move out its way. While that was happening, from the bottom windows of the dungeons we see Hades looking as he sees the Black Pearl making its escape. Good luck, kid, Hades said with a smirk. You're gonna need it. On the Black Pearl. Sparrow pokes his head out the side of the ship to look back at the no-ruined casino where they were with a bewildered look, before he turns to the young ninja with that same look. Do you always carry around magic exploding paper all the time? He asked, waving his hand to him. Naruto shrugs his shoulders before saying, Ninjas always come prepared, especially when it come with seals, or exploding tags. Smart thinking there, mate. The pirate muttered out. Don't do it again. Hector loudly sighs relief and starts to relax. That was the most Coco Loco thing I've ever done, in my undead life, he replied. Are you kidding? Skellington asked, smiling with excitement. That was wonderful. I should do something similar like that when Halloween comes. Please don't. Hector quietly muttered out, giving Skellington a look. As the ship travels through the streets, as it avoids a few hanging signs, lanterns and under-bridge arches, all the while as Jack Sparrow uses the ship's wheel to turn the rudder left and right as the Black Pearl makes its way towards the Dead Sea. Well, the good news that at the rate we're going, we'll reach the sea in no time, Sparrow replied. Nothing can stop us. Hector then notices something in the air and narrows his eyes to get a closer look, before they widen, and raises his finger, which was shaking, at them. Perhaps that? He replied. Sparrow raises an eyebrow at Hector before he looks to where he was pointing, and his eyes widen seeing it as well, including Skellington, Naruto, and Tinkerbell. That'll be the bad news, he muttered. In the sky, flying towards the ship, was the Dead Sea crew hanging on to what looked to be bat-like creatures. The creature's body is small and oval-shaped with short ears sprout out of the top of its head. Its eyes are small and glow yellow with an emblem that resembles a heart with a fleur-de-lis at the bottom and a spiky X crossing through the center on its chest. Its mouth is jagged, and its large wings are attached to either of its sides, each sporting a silver spike close to the head. The bat's body is blue, except for the tips of its ears and wings, which are navy blue. A short, silver chain connects the body to a large, red hook with a yellow base, which the Dead Sea crew wear hanging on. On come one! Naruto complained. Don't these guys ever give up? Will, it could be worse, Sparrow said to the young ninja. Honk honk. The pirate blinks at that noise in confusion. Did anyone just hear a horn going off? He asked before he turns to the side at where it came from to see nothing. Crash. That is until a car came crashing out of a local shop and is now driving alongside the ship, with Oogie Boogie at the wheel, driving it like a madman, or a mad sack of bugs in this case. Our heroes stare at that in surprise, not expecting Oogie Boogie to catch up to them. I think it's become worse, Hector said, breaking the silence. The car itself looked to be a Panther de Ville with a red coat with a black trim. The headlights and front bumper look like a scowling face, and the hubcaps have a stylized CD on them, and the roof of the car looked to have been cut off. Get back here with my ship! The boogeyman shouted at our heroes while shaking his fist at them, before he starts ramming the side of the ship with the car shaking the pearl. Hey! Stop attacking my ship! Sparrow fired back. And for the record, it's not your ship, she's my ship, is not. Oogie Boogie yelled back and rammed again. Is too, is not, it is too. Are you seriously doing this? Naruto interrupted with a look that said, really? It was then that the dead crew reached the ship, while still getting rammed. They let go on the hooks and fall to grab onto the ship or land on the ship and the car, with a few exceptions of missing the ship entirely crashing into signs and such. We've got to knock these guys off the ship. Skellington called out as he creates a slime whip and starts knocking off the black peel. On it! Naruto replied, making hand signs. Kagebushin no jutsu. Poof! With a large poof of smoke, about a dozen copies of the young ninja came jumping out and attacked the dead crew. Hector backs away from the fight until he bumped into another dead crew member that had a hammerhead shark for a head, before quickly ducks under a sword swing from the shark man and jumped away from another swing. He stands straight with a determined look and says, "You want a piece of me, K?" he said, and cracks his own neck to act tough. Fine then. He grabs his other arm, before he pulls it off and gets into a sword pose using his arm as a sword. En guardia! That started of the sword/bone fight between the two. The shark man takes a couple of swings at Hector who uses his arm to block the strikes and slowly backs away before his chest jumps separating from his spine before they reattached again. Ha ha! Miss me! Hector cheekily said before he makes a comeback. He swings his arms at the shark man, who also blocks the swings with its sword as well as forcing back away from the swings until the two of them were locked in a sword/bone lock. Hector and the dead member narrow their eyes as they glare at each, pushing against each other strength for strength, until the shark man starts to gain more ground pushing the sword/bone towards Hector as a wicked grin forms on the shark man's face which was making Hector start to get nervous. What are you gonna do now, bonehead? The shark man said. Perhaps this then? He replied. Poke, and poked the shark man's eyes out with the hand on the arm. Arg! The shark man cried out while holding its eyes. Hector then kicks the member making him fly back and off over the rails, landing on top of the car's widescreen, blocking Oogie Boogie's view. Hey! Get off, you clumsy fish bait! You're blocking my view! The boogeyman cried out before he flung the shark man off the front, before he looks through the widescreen again only to see a large open wagon full to the load of Alabrige manure. Manure? Oogie Boogie's eyes widen at the danger ahead before he muttered out. Oh crap! Crash! And crashed into the wagon he did which in turn made the car stop in its tracks and stuck, covering both his and the inside of the car in manure. The boogeyman growls in anger before he slams the car wheel. Blast! How can a couple of troublesome living people cause this much trouble? This is why I hate the living, he shouted in anger before he slams the wheel again. Splat! Which made more manure to fall on top of his head and in the car, making him groan in despair. Back on the Black Pearl, Hector who hand he had poking out to look behind, smiles as he saw what happened to the boogeyman and laughs. That what you get when he face Hector Rivera? He called out before he attaches his arm back. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Skellington and Naruto were nearly done with the rest of the crew except for one who was now facing the young ninja, who was dodging the sword swings and strikes from the last member, before the young ninja throws a few punches to its head knocking him back, before he quickly makes a clone and makes a Rasengan with it and uses it to blast the last member off the ship into a water fountain. That's the last of them. Naruto calls out, and Oogie Boogie is stuck in Mierda. Hector added, I don't know what that means but I like it. Sparrow said with a smile. Next stop the Dead Sea. Hector then looks to the front of the ship but his eyes widen as he saw what was up ahead, which was nothing as in where was no road but a cliff that was about 20-story fall drop, except that we're running out of Camino. Hector called out in panic while he was pointing ahead. Out of what? Sparrow asked with a puzzled look. Naruto turns to what Hector was talking about his eyes widen and pales at what he meant. He's talking about the road. He yelled out, alerting everyone to look to the front to also see the edge. Didn't see that coming. The pirate muttered. Before they could do anything to stop the ship, it was too late. Over the edge it flew and falls with no way of stopping its descent. Our heroes cling to the ship for life as they scream while falling. This is not how I want it to end. Sparrow cried out. I never got the chance to explore the living. Hector also cried out. Seeing the ground fast approaching, tears start to form in Naruto's eyes before he closes them tightly. I'm sorry, Ka-san. He mentally told himself knowing that he was gonna die from the fall. Except for Tinkerbell. Seeing the situation, the fairy with a determined look, flies out of the young ninja's jacket to the deck of the ship. She makes a large magic ball of gold dust before slamming it into the ship which caused the ball to quickly spread and cover the whole ship in gold dust. The ship was now only less than a mile before crashing into the ground and killing our heroes. Whoosh! Until suddenly the ship shoots upwards away from the ground and into the air where it stayed as if they were flying. Noticing that they haven't died yet, Naruto slowly opens his eyes to see that they were in fact alive, and that the ship was indeed flying. He looks around to see that Skellington and Sparrow also realize it as well except for Hector, who still had his eyes closed in fear. Are we flying? Naruto asked, snapping Hector out of his fright. We are? The skeleton asked before he looked over the side in surprise. We are flying. Not that I'm not grateful for that which I am, but how? Sparrow asked in confusion. Of course! Skellington suddenly said while he slaps his own head. How can I forget? He then turns to Tinkerbell, who flew back to the young ninja's shoulder heavily panting. Tinkerbell, she must have used her pixie dust to make the ship fly That's how we're alive. That made everyone including the ninja turn to the fairy in surprise who smiles back at them before she gives a thumbs up. You can do that? Naruto asked, getting a nod from her, making his grin in joy. That's so cool. You saved us. Which made the fairy blush in prize from the ninja. Remind me to never bad-mouth little pixie girls ever again. Sparrow said to Tinkerbell who deadpanned at hearing pixie. I was wrong, but what about when we reach the water? Hector asked, getting everyone attention. Davey Jones will be waiting for us there. You leave that to me, mate. If there one thing the pro can do is that it can outrun the Flying Dutchman. The pirate answered quickly, making his way to the ship's wheel. Then that's our heading. Skellington replied before he points to the front of the ship. To the water, Captain. There isn't a moment to lose. Naruto looks ahead to see the sea in the distance. Next stop, the living. He mentally said to himself, and not a moment too soon. The QB replied, and with that the pirate sets the course and guides the ship to its destination, and with the hopes of escaping the land of the dead before anything else happens.